first and foremost, I want to thank you for coming in.
Oh, thanks for having me, brother.
No, for real, dude, because I just think it's awesome that I get to talk to so many amazing people that have had so many different journeys and walks of life and experiences. And that's kind of what this podcast has always been about. And everybody that's listened from day one. And I don't know if you know, I had a podcast.
Yeah, I remember. I heard you
Voice
on
and
the
Rizzles.
show saying it.
60 episodes on that one, and then I had Brajol Brothers with me and my brother.
Great.
Yeah, with me and my boy just talking
I
shit
didn't
about
hear
dating.
that one. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, just
I got to check some of those retro episodes out there.
You know what? The Brajol Brothers we actually took down because my boy just didn't want that shit out there. I'll send you the episodes.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I got them on. I got them on archive. But you know, you get to really just hear amazing stories, and that's what this is for.
Yeah,
it's so many different walks of life, so many different experiences, and I just want to bring those experiences to like a wide, massive audience. And it grows every show. We grow, and every show I get a couple of new viewers or a couple of new people that share clips. And TikTok has been huge for me, which you're gonna be all over TikTok once we do this.
That's all right. I'm new to the TikTok game. I'm not on there yet, but
that's okay.
It's funny. That's the way the world's trending is all that.
People, it's weird because Jamal and I talk about it. People just want straight motivation.
Yeah.
They want the feeling of listening to somebody talk about their experience and then going, shit, I want to get out there. And I feel like the conversion rate isn't that high. So they'll talk about wanting to do it, and they'll be like, yeah, this guy motivated me, or Joe Rogan motivated me, or David Goggins, this and that. But they won't practice what those people have preached to them. So it's almost like they just want the motivating content to get them off the couch that one day, but they don't follow through. Yeah. So then they need that constant source.
And the more people you hear, too, you could relate to somebody that story is more like yours, you know?
Exactly.
So that's what every little bit helps, you know? You might listen to one person, you're like, I really can't relate to that guy or girl, and then you listen to the next guy, and it's like, oh, man, like he lived the same life I did, and he did it. Why can't I do it?
And that's what it's about. My friend Marina, she came on. She had the breast cancer gene. I talk about Marina a lot.
Yeah.
She had the breast cancer gene. She had tons of biopsies done in the course of, I think she had something like 12 biopsies done in the course of a couple of years. Wow. And what wound up happening was she just said they were all coming back negative for cancer, or what is it? Yeah, I guess negative for cancer. Yeah. I guess that's. I'm trying to think of like the correct terminology. Benign. Thank you. That's what it was. And she just kept getting benign tumors and benign cysts and whatnot. And then she finally just said, you know what? I can't keep living like this, getting it tested, and because she said they remove a bit of your breast every time, and there's holes all over her breast. So she got a double mastectomy. Wow. So she talked about pre-op, during it, and post-op, and what the experience. And that whole episode was to open a lot of women's eyes and men. Yeah. Ironically, a week later, I met a guy at a art exhibit for tattoo artists, and I was just talking to him about the episode, and he said to me, I actually had breast cancer in my right pec, and I did a mastectomy on my right pec.
Talk about
I was like, dude, it's crazy. You don't hear those things. So until you experience it and you listen to these experiences that other people have gone through, really going through the trenches. Yeah. Because I'm sure your life, people read the title and they see Jets, they're going to see Jets strength and conditioning coach, and they're going to be like, oh, what a life he's probably, that's probably cake. And it's like, no, man, that's a fucking hard, long journey.
Long journey. It's funny, especially breast cancer, talking about that. My mom's a breast cancer survivor, so like I know that journey. I mean, 2004, she got diagnosed. Tough old Italian woman, though. She never acted like anything was wrong with her. Going through her chemo, bald head, she's still sitting there acting like nothing's wrong, cooking for everybody, cleaning like a nut that she is. But yeah, that's tough, man. That's awesome to spread that to people, because then they have hope still, and that's 90% of the cancer battle there. I think it's just having that hope and belief that you could beat it.
It's scary.
And
it's scary because it's almost like when people started getting COVID when it first came around.
Oh yeah, you thought the world was ending.
They go, oh yeah, you just tested positive for COVID. Because I remember, even though I was already well versed in I'm gonna eventually get it. Like I was kind of just like, I'm gonna get it eventually. And I was around all the athletes, and we had guys coming off planes from Spain and whatnot, and we were doing photo shoots in gyms and this and that. And then I got it from some girl I was seeing. That's great. Just randomly, I got it from some girl I was seeing. So like when I lost my taste and smell, I sat there for a second. I was like, oh, this is like weird. Now it feels real, and
real,
obviously way different than cancer. Yeah. However, it's just, I feel like it's that same thought process where you just it's the shock therapy of wow,
especially especially early on.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Early on, and if you got COVID, you're like, oh man, because you didn't know.
Oh
then no one knew really what the hell it was. Like all you're seeing on the news, everyone's going to the hospital.
Yeah, so you start seeing vents, and you start seeing all this stuff, and you're just like, oh, definitely don't want that.
They're bringing in hospital ships into the harbor and stuff like that. So it's like.
This might be something serious.
A little mass hysteria created by the media a little bit.
Legacy media. That's what my boy Rick called them.
Now that we're on the back end of that, we kind of see it, but
At least people are waking up.
Yeah.
That's my big thing. At least people are waking up, and throughout the entire COVID narrative, whether you are for things or against them, whatever it's been, my biggest piece of advice that I've told people is just question everything.
Yeah.
Question everything.
That should be with everything in life.
Everything in life. Don't sit there and just be told something and just go, okay, that's the answer.
Yeah.
No. Why do you think there are second opinions? Why do you think there are other people with varying opinions on what you're going through, even cancer treatments?
Yeah.
You may go to one guy that says it's over, and another guy that says, no, we dealt with this before. We can handle this and help you.
Absolutely.
So it's just question everything. Don't just sit there and just be a victim.
Yeah.
You know, there's tons of proactive things that you can do for it. Vitamins, cardio, eating healthy, stuff like that. All that should have been preached from the beginning, and it wasn't, because that doesn't make certain people and certain corporations money.
Yeah.
And that's just unfortunately how it goes. But people like us that are in the fitness industry, these are the things that we've been doing for years.
Yeah.
Like, it's the stuff that I'm sure you've been telling your athletes to do as well.
Yeah, my wife laughs at me. I don't even like taking like Tylenol. When I have a headache, she's like, just take a Tylenol. What's wrong with you? I'm like, I'll just drink some water. I'll be all right.
Yeah.
I'll
truck through it.
quick. Yeah.
I'll go to bed. I'll wake up tomorrow. It'll be gone.
Yeah,
That's
I'm either
it.
hungry, tired, or need caffeine. That's it. If I have a headache, that's what I know. So it's funny. But,
Are you big on caffeine?
I tried to wean off when I was obviously when I was at the Jets putting in those 16-hour days. I was definitely 7 cups of coffee a day, and not even. I like the taste of coffee.
Me too.
So it's really not even that I feel like I need a jolt. I just like to drink coffee because I like the taste of it. And that's really all I drink is water and coffee. So it's, if I'm tired of drinking water and I want something with taste in it, I'll just drink coffee or unsweetened iced tea. That's really all I drink. But, yeah, I mean, my wife laughs at me, became a little bit of a coffee snob, but can't drink the Dunkin' Donuts too much no more. It's too watered down.
Nah.
I need the real stuff.
Yeah, you need the high octane shit. Black Rifle coffee is really good.
I haven't tried that yet. It's funny. I've been wanting to try it forever, and I always just either forget to order it or click on it, and I'm not pulling the trigger on it. But I got to try it.
And I love they're veteran backed, so the owner's a veteran, and they give back to the community. So I just. I say this all the time. I will always support a small business that gives back to the community and that is rooted in the community. Yeah, these big corporations are great. At some point, they were all small businesses. However, they're large now. They don't need that funding anymore.
No, exactly.
They're on a wide scale. So the little guy that still is on the ground up, and which I can't even say Black Rifle Coffee is on the ground up because they just went public. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, wow.
So like he's really built that into something amazing.
But he's still taking care of the community.
Still taking care of the community. It's like Duke Cannon.
Yeah.
Duke Cannon makes men's products. So they make soaps, they make deodorant, they make hand creams, they make everything. A portion of every sale goes to veterans. That's huge for me.
Yeah.
Grandfather was in the Korean War.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of friends that are ex-military. My buddy Brandon Stoll, who was on the podcast a couple episodes ago, he talked about he's a sergeant in the Army, and he was a paratrooper basically, so the airman or airborne division, and he would jump out of the planes and land down, and just I have a lot of respect for the people that put their lives on the line to guard our country, guard our freedoms, and just even if they're going somewhere they don't believe in, they still go in there and they fight. For us, yeah. For us.
Whether we wake up and do whatever we want all day.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
And whether people are grateful or not, they're going to still do it. So that's huge for me. Yeah. So any companies that really give back in that manner, I'll support those companies all the time. But yeah, man, I want to get into with your background.
Yeah.
People always ask me, they go, what's the format of the show? When I come on the show, because there's a lot of people that hit me up, they go, I want to come on, I want to talk. And I go, I'm more than happy to do that. They say, what's the format of the show? Free form.
That's it.
I just want to sit down with somebody and just start from the beginning. What got you into?
That's the best. That's the most organic way to really learn about somebody. Just like we're here having,
Yeah, we're just here having a conversation, and the cameras are literally as if the people were sitting right next to us. There you go. It's like as if the people were sitting right next to us. So that's important for me that it just is organic. So we got linked up through Instagram. We started talking about doing some videos with one another, and it kind of just blossomed into. I would love for you to come on the show and talk about your
Two Italian
life.
guys from the Northeast, we kind of.
That's it. That's my paisan right there.
It's easy for us to connect and like each other.
Oh,
We're
instantly.
pretty much the same person, so it doesn't matter.
So just literally run it back for me.
So grew up in Rahway, New Jersey, born and raised there. Was a fat kid growing up, little chubby kid. My brother was 5 years older than me, so I always wanted to tag along with him. Shout out to Ray. And so he just always brought me along with him playing football and stuff like that. Our two of our best friends, the Garay brothers. Tony went on to have a 10-year NFL career. He bounced around the league for a little bit. Dan was my age, played right here at Hofstra University out in Long Island, Strong Island. So I would go out there a lot to see him. But we were just always together playing sports, man. Our whole crew, it didn't matter. Just if it had a ball, we were out there playing. It didn't matter. Kind of the old school way of growing up. This was pre-cell phone, so thank God for that. We would have been in a lot of trouble if some of the stuff that we were doing got recorded. But, yeah, man, I was just a chubby kid that loved sports growing up. My dad opened up a gym when we were younger.
What type? Was just a regular bodybuilding or just a regular fitness facility?
Kind of ahead of his time. I mean, it was 92, 93 opened it up, and it was just one of those, like, huge mega gyms before huge mega gyms were around. Obviously the old school bodybuilding gyms were around back then, and he just wanted to make, like, a first-class facility. So, my grandfather was a builder since, he got out of the war in the 50s. And so that was kind of the family business, was construction and that. My dad just kind of took the after my mom got divorced, he just kind of went the fitness route, trying to get himself better.
Which so many people do.
Yeah.
Because it's about, especially after you go through something, whether it's a bad breakup, good breakup, split up, whatever it is, a lot of people turn to the fitness industry because they want to get their head, mind, and body right, everything.
Yeah. So he started training a lot. Old lumberyard they built in this beautiful gym. Downstairs was the aerobic studio back then, they call it. Now it's group fitness. Lobby had a barbershop in there, tanning salon, huge juice bar, childcare, locker rooms, state of the art. Upstairs was all hammer strength equipment. Back then, the selectorized stuff was called, it was Pyramid. That's actually where he got the name from, but then Trotter bought it. So it was all Trotter selectorized equipment. And that's how we got the name. It was called Pyramid Club back in the day. All the old school Jersey meatheads will know Pyramid Club if they're in that North Jersey area. But
Bev's, and I don't want to cut you. Bev's had a lot of Nautilus equipment.
Yeah,
Nautilus equipment, Bodymaster.
Yeah,
well, there's a couple of pieces left. Unfortunately, Steve is kind of replacing some of the older pieces.
I mean, the newer stuff now coming out is sick. I mean, I feel like the old school plate loaded hammer strength stuff will be around for 100 more years. You just gotta reupholster it. I mean, that's my favorite stuff. But yeah, I mean, the gym was sick, so. Even then, I really didn't get bit by the training bug yet. I was only like 9, really, when he opened up. So I wasn't, the real training age yet. My brother got into it a little more, obviously being a little older. And then, through high school and stuff like that, I kind of got bit by the bug a little more. But, I mean, that experience growing up was, we had like Shannon Briggs coming in there and training, got a heavyweight champ with the gold dreads.
Okay, yeah.
Brooklyn native. He's on Instagram screaming, "Let's go, champ," all the time.
Yeah.
He was awesome. So, we actually became real close with him and his manager at the time, and we were going to all the fights. Literally one fight before the fight, my dad couldn't find me. It's in Atlantic City. He's like, "Where the hell is Joe at? Like, what the hell's going on?" And then, like, Shannon's coming out, and I'm in front of Shannon, and I'm, like, walking him out, like, in his entourage to the ring. So, just kind of being around, the pro boxers, and Roy Jones Jr. came to the gym one time and did a old show called Ringside. He hung out the whole day, ended up hanging out with us, so... Just really being around those professional boxers and a lot of some other professional athletes and bodybuilders that came in kind of really sparked my interest with that. Like, this is what these guys have to do to be good at what they're doing is train. And then high school, 3-sport varsity athlete, football, wrestling, and track.
What was your favorite?
Football.
Okay.
Yeah, hands down football. Yeah. Wrestling I just did because all my friends did it. And we were good. We ended up winning the States my junior year, but as a team. And the Garay family that I grew up with, they were all heavy wrestlers, and so that was a lot of fun. Just growing up, all our boys were wrestling, so it was like hanging out with your boys after school.
It's a community effort right there. Exactly. Everyone becomes closer and tighter, and
we had a good time, man. A lot of good times, and then through football, I just kind of excelled. I think it was definitely part of growing up. Just I would always be playing with the older kids because of my brother. So when I got to playing kids my own age, it was kind of a little bit easier.
You're a little disadvantaged for them.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the true Italian way, I hit my growth spurt in 8th grade and never grew again. So everyone thought I was going to be like 6'5" because I was this tall in 8th grade. And like, oh, this kid's going to be a monster. And it never grew again after that.
I got the short Italian genes. Yeah. I'm 5'8", 5'7", 5'8". I'm right there, and I got big calves. That's it.
Yeah,
good triceps, big calves,
and then calves too.
Midsections. Okay.
Yeah, no, I got the pasta pot. Yeah, and then I ballooned up when I was playing at Rutgers. I was 280 when I was playing at Rutgers. So yeah.
And what position were you playing?
So it's funny. So after high school, had a couple smaller offers. Thought I was going to Syracuse on a full ride. That fell through last minute, and then actually had the opportunity to walk on at Rutgers. So I walked on as a linebacker at Rutgers and ended up earning a scholarship as a nose tackle and center.
Okay.
So I walked in there for Coach Shiano. It was his second year there. And, coming as a linebacker. And, you think you're the shit.
Oh, yeah.
You're in Jersey. Oh, yeah, I'm the man. I'm the biggest kid in my school, best football player. But you get there, and everybody is the best football player.
You start seeing the corn-fed dudes.
Then you got kids from Florida that are, bigger than you, more muscle than you, and 10 times faster than you. So I'm like, all right. Joe, we need you to move to DN. I'm like, sounds good. I'll move to DN. Joe, we need you to move nose tackle. I'm like, all right, bump down. So I redshirted my freshman year, and that's really, really kind of when I fell in love with the weight room then, because, you know, you just knowing as a walk-on, that's how you earn your keep. You just got to bust your ass in the weight room, you know, go as hard as you can. And then, you know, obviously you get that meal plan at college, so you're eating a lot. I like to eat and just, you know, you're training harder than you ever trained in your life. You're lifting 2 hours a day. Then you're practicing, you know, you're running around like a nut. So put on like 25 pounds. Not all muscle, a lot of fat, but, you know, you're not putting on that much kind of weight natural without putting on some fat. And then, yeah, man, and it was just a fun journey. You know, my freshman year, we were 1-11, you know, kind of laughing stock of college football, and then we turned it around. By my redshirt senior year, we were 11-2. We were ranked as high as, I think, 7 in the country at one point. You know, we were like one of 4 undefeated teams left there, and then we ended up going on and winning the first bowl game in Rutgers history. So, you know, it was kind of a fun little legacy we all got to leave behind there. And Coach Shannell's back now, so hopefully he finishes what we set out to do, which is ultimately end up winning the national championship there. So I know a lot of people be laughing at me now for saying that, but
nah, listen.
You heard it here first. Rutgers is going to be back on.
Who thought the fucking Bengals would be going?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Joe Burrow's nasty, but who thought the Bengals would be pile driving everyone
Exactly.
they're going against and doing it? So we got this weekend, which is going to be interesting. So anything is possible. I mean, it takes the right amount of chemistry between players and coaches, and you know, you could attest to that and talk about that with your experiences behind the lines on a professional football team.
Yeah,
but it's an interesting thing when all cylinders are firing at the same time, how effective it could be. You don't have to be the best players in the league. You could just be all in sync, and it's like one amazing player.
The crazy thing is, man, and that's like, you know, anytime I talk to teams, that's what I say, like, the difference is in, like, our success when I was a player at Rutgers was freshman year, shit, we had a ton of good players. You had Gary Brackett, ended up going having a 10-year NFL career, won a Super Bowl with the Colts, was the starting linebacker for the Colts. L.J. Smith played about 10 years in NFL, was with the Eagles for a little bit when they were really dominant in the early 2000s. Nate Jones, bunch of other guys that year, all the seniors. Raheem Moore.
So you had some all-stars on there.
Yeah, and then, you know, we just, you know, they were close as a senior class, but the whole team wasn't tight. And then that's like where my class kind of came in. You had guys from Florida, Jersey, you know, upstate New York, you know, all over the place. It didn't matter. We were just a tight team. Everyone hung out together. And I think that closeness helps you with, you know, that talent gap.
Yeah.
So, you might not be the best player, and we trained like animals. I mean, we were, you know, Coach Shannell and our strength coach, Jay Butler, they just ingrained it in as like, they kicked their ass.
Yeah, you got hard work.
Yeah, summer train was nuts. Even like in season, we're, you know, a Tuesday practice, you know, we're friggin' running 8 to 10 half gassers after practice, just to kind of keep that edge and kind of callous the body. Now, how it's going with the sports science, everyone's like against that, but
overdoing it.
Parcells said it best: hurt and tired wins the game. You don't feel fresh in the fourth quarter. So, you know, you got to train in that state of being fatigued and hurt to be able to turn it on in the fourth quarter when the game matters.
And it's a lot of mental. It's a lot of mental when you're, especially when you're drawn out, you're tired. I mean, I know it on the bodybuilding side. I always wanted to play football.
Yeah,
I really did. I wanted to play, but I was 270 in high school, 9th and 10th grade.
Yes.
They wanted to put me on fucking D-line.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh, I'm like I'm 5'7". I'm going to get steamrolled. I'm good on that. So I always wanted to be a running back because being shorter and I do have some speed. I thought I'd be good at that position, maybe safe. Like I didn't know.
Big white dude, they're putting you right on the line.
Yeah, they're putting me on the line. I was just like
the same way too.
I was like, man, I don't want to do that. So I wound up never playing, and I always did want to play. So when I got into the bodybuilding sport, you know, when you do I did it naturally. I didn't take anything.
Yeah.
So like when I did a 23-week prep, bodybuilding prep, and I dropped from 240 to 150 for my first show. It was really tough.
Yeah.
It was like the mental side of it was nothing I've ever experienced in my life, and I'm sure that correlates as well to football, especially in that fourth quarter. If you're down, if the team is down, or even if it's a tie game, how you have to just keep that level of intensity up. But for me, it was like 23 weeks, low carbs, doing fucking cardio in the morning, cardio at night, going to school. I went to Quinnipiac, going to school, training all day, like training in the evening, getting my work done, and then having to do it again the next day. You know, the last I want to say 7 or 8 weeks I was away at school, but before that I was at summer, so it was a little easier when I was at home.
That's tough too, to be a college student and you're cutting while everyone's out.
No drinking, no nothing.
Yeah,
my roommates were afraid of me because my fuse was this short, and they would come home at 2-3 in the morning. Even if they brought girls home, they'd go, everyone shut up. They're like, don't wake the sleeping bear. Because I'd be in bed by 10 o'clock.
Yeah, you had to.
5, 6 a.m. the next morning. I'm going to the gym, fasted cardio, and then if it was a Saturday, I'm training and I'm getting my shit in and I'm doing everything I have to do and eating my first meal. But like my eyes would shoot open when I'd hear just the smallest noise in my hallway, and I'd open the door and they'd be like, "Yo, Nick, our bad man." I'm like, "Yo, get in your fucking room." I was a miserable asshole to be around. I was like, "Get in that room and shut the door. How dare you wake me up?" Like I was the only person allowed to be angry. Yeah. So it's an interesting thing, but the mental side of it was just absolutely insane.
Yeah,
Those last 3 weeks where I was on basically no carbs and I was doing an hour of cardio in the morning and 45 minutes at night, fasted. I was at 110 steps a minute on the Stairmaster, just
moving,
cooking, and I was just more and more drawn out every single day. And by the time the show got there, I got home to my mom, and she just looks at me and she goes, "Nick, this isn't good," because I was so.
Yeah, Italian moms don't like that.
No, my grandmother was deathly afraid, and I just told her, I said, "I just want the show to be over. I'm so fucking tired right now. It's insane. I could barely pick up 20-pound dumbbells. That's how weak I was towards the end.
That's crazy.
But I just had to mind. I
mean, at that point,
keep
you're just
going,
trying to get everything cut down for the show just to look good on stage.
Yeah, man. So it was that mindset of keep going, and I'm sure you've experienced that as well.
Yeah, I mean the dieting is a whole nother level. I feel like of mental toughness, though. You know, obviously playing on the field is a little different, but you know that dieting is a discipline. You know, I was telling you earlier, my brother-in-law did a show, probably 10 years ago now, and it was the same thing. Like, and we were sitting there Sunday dinner, and he's got like his chicken and broccoli, and his mom made. You know, now I'm eating his bowl of pasta too, so I'm freaking bulking up. But and his mom's literally like trying to push pasta on him every Sunday and stuff like that. And he's like, "Mom, I can't. You know, what don't you get? I can't eat it." But that's another discipline that bodybuilders go through, that stuff. And the thing that I always laughed at too, like same thing, natural. I never took anything, but when people like judge the bodybuilders or even the powerlifters stuff, like, oh, you know, they just like that because they're on steroids. No, motherfucker, like that's still. You could take the same thing that guy's taking, and you're not going to look like that.
Yeah.
Like, those guys train hard. They're eating the right shit, eating a lot if they have to, whatever, if they're trying to bulk up or cut down. That's a different animal.
There's so much behind-the-scenes work that goes into it that people don't see.
No.
But it's like anything in life. They see your career. They see what I'm doing with the podcast, with the videography, with my photography, with my past shows. They just see the end result. They're not in the trenches with you every day.
Yeah.
They don't see my 10 o'clock at night, waking up the next morning at 4 or 5 in the morning, getting back here to start editing again or to get podcast clips out. They don't see all the 16-hour days you're putting in and working with all different types of personalities on the team and making sure everybody has their own individualized plans or the groupings. You have to explain to me how it actually goes about, but there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that people just see that end result and they just go, "Oh, yeah, it must be easy. Oh, it was the steroids. Oh, it was this, it was that." Like, don't get me wrong, the steroids help. I know a lot of bodybuilders. The steroids help.
Yeah.
But it's not a magical pill because I know plenty of guys that have taken a cycle and they look like dog shit.
Well, even like the whole Barry Bonds thing now, how they're blocking him from getting into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, are they? I didn't hear that.
Or he didn't get voted in this time. I think it might have been his like last time or something like that. I'll probably be wrong. People will correct us, but
I'll Google search. Let's see.
Still, me and you could take the same thing Barry Bonds was taking. We won't be able to hit a baseball like he did. You know what I mean? So that's what like cracks me up.
Let me see. Barry Bonds. I'm curious because I know they were doing all the inductions and everything. Big Papi got in all right off the cut.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds' Hall of Fame career was never going win over nostalgic baseball men. Jimmy Rollins says Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Pete Rose should be in.
But meanwhile,
8 wild Barry
100 years ago, God knows what those guys were taking. I mean, they were sitting there drinking beer and smoking cigarettes in the dugout, so they weren't testing for anything else.
No,
to get those guys out and playing. But
and there's so many different things that I was talking to Jamal about it. He's going to bring it up in a separate podcast about fighters and what they go through and the testing regimens for all of them.
It's nuts.
But
and the weight cut with them too. That's another.
Oh, the weight cut's insane. Weight cut's insane. I don't know if I'd be able to do that. I don't know if I'd be able to be a fighter and sit there and then be expected to perform and rehydrate and perform the next day. It's insane.
That was the only reason I even wrestled, because I was the heavyweight and I could eat whatever I want. I could have weighed in with my Tim boots on and my book bag and still made weight. I was like 220 wrestling heavyweight and the weight limit was 275. I'm like, I'll wrestle as long as I don't got to cut weight. I mean, these guys are in there with the trash bags on,
spitting
into a water bottle so they don't swallow their own spit, like just every ounce. trying to get out of their body before a weigh-in.
So I got two ends of the spectrum. My buddy Arash, I don't know if you ever heard of Arash Rabar. Arash Rabar, a classic men's physique pro, very well known. He's been going through some stuff. He's going to come on the podcast and explain some of the medical issues he's been going through and why he hasn't competed in the last couple of years. But won Olympia when I was with him and Flex Lewis.
Wow.
I was with Flex Lewis filming him, and then I went to go check in on Arash, and Arash was in the elevator. He messaged me before he got to the building. I'm like, yo, where are you? Because he got there 4 or 5 days before, but he held so much water on a constant basis that he needed all that time to just cut that water out to get weighed in for classic physique.
Yeah.
So I'm like, where are you? And he goes, I'm coming in the door now. Get the elevator for us. I'm like, okay. So I get the elevator. He comes stumbling in and like basically collapses into the elevator. And I look at him and I go, dude, this isn't good, bro.
Yeah.
He goes, I gotta get the rest of the water out. We get to his room. He's wringing his socks out. And this is days of him going out just walking around Vegas with his heat suit on and just wringing his socks out, how much he sweat. And he's sucking on ice cubes. That's one end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And then you have this guy, Sean Clarita. I don't know if you ever heard Sean Clarita. He's Mr. Olympia for 212 bodybuilding for 2 years ago. Sean's a really good dude. Hard worker. He's one of the shortest competitors in terms of like the 212 division.
Yeah.
And he is always like weight ready a month or 2 months in advance. So he goes and weighs in every Olympia or every show, eating his meal on the scale because he already knows he's so light.
Little mental warfare too for some of the guys cutting.
He's just ready to go.
Yeah.
So it's like two ends of the spectrum. It's crazy. But it's the Boston Globe says Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, and Curt Schilling are off the Hall of Fame ballot. What comes next? That was 22 hours ago. That's a shame. I mean, listen, I'm not going to sit here and advocate for taking steroids in a sport where they're really not supposed to. You know, bodybuilding, they don't really give a fuck. Like it's kind of like a hush hush, but like everyone knows everyone's on shit. So nobody talks about it, but you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But in this type of situation, you're not supposed to take those. So I can understand one side of the spectrum, but you also can't take away the man's accolades for how impressive he was over his entire career.
How many other players are taking it and don't have the accolades that those guys have?
Like, do you really think anybody, like, if say they gave it, say I was just as good a hitter as Barry Bonds, like, or maybe like a grade under him, and I took the same stuff as him, what's to say I was even going to be anywhere remotely consistent as him?
Yeah. I mean, we all know it gives you the strength and the power to you know, obviously if you get a hold of the ball to drive it a little further, but you still have to see the damn ball to be able to hit it.
Coordination, strength.
Same thing with football. You know, you still... You know, football might be a little different, especially if you're OD lineman. You know, just that little bit of strength and aggression it gives you a little bit. It might be a little more of an advantage. But you know, some of the skill positions like that, you know, with quarterback and stuff like that, like you still gotta. It's a different breed. And you still mentally have to have it too. You know, that's the thing with football too. You know, with all the numbers, you know, you see all the sports science data getting thrown out there, and all the the combine. You know, how as big as that became, kind of almost its own show. You could bench this, or you could run this. Still takes a different breed of animal to run as fast as you can and hit somebody as hard as you can and then get up and do it 60 more times that game, you know? So it's a little, you know, that's why you see some of these late round picks that end up going on and having a 10-year NFL career, because those are the guys that loved it, where the guy that had, you know, looked like the Incredible Hulk coming out of college and ran a 4.3 40 and benched 225 30 times, they fizzle out after 2 or 3 years. They didn't love it as much or didn't love it at all. They were just kind of always that much bigger.
There's a freak.
And better than everybody that in college got away, but in the NFL, that shit's not flying.
Well, you probably see that a lot dealing with the guys up close and personal. From sitting where I sit and everybody else, it's easy to point fingers, judge, say, oh, he's going to be amazing. He's going to be this and that. But like when you actually see them in person, it's a much different animal. I don't watch the combine too much, but I know that. And by the way, I'm a Patriots fan.
Yeah. Oh man.
How
you a Long Island guy and you're a Patriots fan?
I was waiting to pull that card out and tell you. My backstory on that was when I first started watching football, my dad was very, very close with Vinny Testaverde.
Okay, there you go.
And I started watching football, and it was like right around Bledsoe and stuff like that. And I love Bill Belichick. I just love the way that he was, his aura and who he was as a coach and this and that. I said, that guy's cool. I said, I kind of like that. And then I became more passionate about the team and following the team. Listen, Brady went to Tampa. I'm not a Tampa fan. I have so many people that I know that are Patriot fans that are now Tampa Bay fans. I'm like, that you're literally a Brady fan, which is fine. But like, admit that and just say I'm a Brady fan. I'm not more of a Patriots fan or a Tampa fan. But I've been rooting for the team even since without him, and it's been a little bit of an interesting ride. Mac Jones seems like he's going to be somebody that can take the team to the next level, hopefully.
Yeah. It's tough to fill those shoes, man. Those are big shoes to come in and try to fill.
Not bad for a rookie quarterback to bring to the playoffs, though.
No, not at all.
They need to spend some fucking money and actually pay some players at wide receiver. I know we paid that dude Bourne, and I know we paid Hunter Henry and the tight end that we got. I forget the other tight end's name. And they just
Howard?
no Johnu, no, I forget his name. But he, what are the Patriots famous for? Not paying their players and getting them when they're right at their prime, and then getting rid of them, kind of thing. Yeah. But I feel like we haven't paid any wide receivers, so you expect this kid. That's why Brady left. That's one of the reasons he left, is because we weren't getting him weapons. And it's like you see him down in Tampa, and there is nothing taken away from Tom. He's an unbelievable athlete, unbelievable player. However, you see him down in Tampa with, at the time, Antonio Brown, Fournette, Mike Evans, Godwin. Like, you see all these. McCoy was on the team at the time. How is he not going to win? Like, you have every amazing player on your team. Yeah, like that's like when you mash your own.
They had last year.
Dude, it's like when you mash your own team together in like an all-star game on like Madden, and you play with all the best players on the team. It's like that's what happens. And Gronk, of course he's going to do well. Yeah. If he didn't do well, I'd be like, dude, how did you not do well? Like, you had everybody around you, and then you kind of see what happens when he doesn't. Like this year, he didn't play that well. Yeah. Like towards the end of the season, when everyone started getting injured, and it's just him with unknown guys. It's kind of like his last couple seasons at the Patriots. So, I'm a Pats fan. I've always been. My dad, back to Vinny Testaverde. It was actually a funeral at the time, but I knew my dad was going to be a while. Like, I was very little. Yeah. And I brought my GameCube. They put me on the side because I was going to be there for 2 sessions. Yeah. And Vinny came in. And I was playing at the NFL game at the time. Yeah. And he comes in, he's like, "Hey Nick, I hear you're a big football fan, this and that." I said, "Yeah," and I didn't know who he was. Yeah. So he goes, "Who's your favorite team?" I said, "The Patriots." He looked at my dad. He went, "What the fuck?" Like, that was it. That was my big Vinny moment.
That's great.
But I've always been, and it's been a great 20 years watching them.
Man.
So
yeah, you guys been spoiled, man.
Yeah, now we see what it feels like to kind of lose a little bit. I'm like, I don't like this.
Yeah, if you see the game this past weekend, you can't bet against Tom Brady, man. I mean,
no, he's unbelievable.
If they would have won that game, that would have been insane. I mean, because it was out of his control. I mean, the defense just started balling and getting all those turnovers, and all of a sudden they're right back in it. That was insane.
Yeah, I'm sure you've gotten to see some amazing things on the sidelines.
Oh, I mean, yeah, him and Aaron Rodgers, I was most impressed with. Just their poise.
I love Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers is one of the most cockiest son of a bitches you'll ever see in your life. So it was the 2019 season, I think it might have been, or 2018. My son knows better than I do. And
he's a big Jet fan?
Diehard Jets fan.
That's awesome.
Still to this day, even me not being there anymore. I was like, "Bro, you don't have to like the Jets anymore." He's like, "No, I still like the Jets," but he has his Jamal Adams and Marcus May are his favorite players. For some reason he loved the safety position, and him and Jamal and even Marcus too, they have a great relationship. Those are two great guys that really took my son in and
huge Jamal Adams fan. Yeah, I love him. Yeah. I love watching him play.
Yeah, my son has his friggin' Seattle jersey now and everything, but he's still a diehard Jets fan. He's not leaving the Jets, but cried when they traded Jamal. He was only 7 years old when they traded him, but it was funny. But yeah, those two. I mean, so we're playing the Packers. I think we were up score or two. 2-minute drill. It was a preseason game for Aaron Rodgers. Walking down the field,
just going, pointing, getting it in.
Touchdown, game over, time expired, walks off the field like it's nothing. But, I mean, those two were impressive. So it was cool, man. I mean, it was definitely an experience that, I was blessed to have. But, like you said, it was a long journey, from –
And that's actually what I kind of want to backtrack, because this is what happens all the time.
Yeah,
we start going down different avenues.
That's how it always is. But
I kind of wanted to touch back on Rutgers real quick.
Yeah.
So when you guys went in there, you said you guys were 1-11 or 1-12.
1-11, yeah.
1-11. So now, what turned that around?
Really, it's just guys buying in. Obviously, I was coach's second year there. We were 1-11, so and it was tough because that transition was. You still got a lot of the old coaches, guys in there. And college back then was different. There was no transfer portal. You really couldn't kick guys off the team unless they did something dumb and got in trouble. you really couldn't just cut guys. Now obviously it's a different world with the NIL and the transfer portal and stuff like that. You can transfer pretty much anywhere you want and play right away. But really just guys buying in, man. We had a good group of guys, my class that came in. And then, as we just kept kind of growing through the ranks, you had that good leadership of the senior class. And then we just got a shit ton of talent on the back end. You had Mike Teal come in and be our quarterback. You had the McCourty twins, who Devin still plays for the Patriots to this day. Jason's still playing. He was down in Miami this year. That was awesome. The two of them got to play together. Ray Rice, Courtney Green, Ron Geralt, a couple New York guys there. Brian Leonard was an upstate New York guy. He was my roommate. He turned into a superstar. White halfback, fullback was on like the Heisman watch list in 2006, early 2005, I think. And then Ray Rice obviously came in and stole the show. But, we just had a lot of young talent. Tyquan Underwood at receiver, Kenny Britt at receiver. Our offensive line was stacked. I think the whole offensive line, that whole offense, the whole starting offense from 2006 was in the NFL at one point.
That's cool.
So, it was just the talent came. But
how cool is that to see from your perspective, like seeing the guys that you were around playing with and then to see them at that pro level?
Oh, it was sick. And then even like, I was blessed to even be able to coach against them. And it was funny because, we're playing against the Browns my first year, and that's when Jason McCourty's on the Browns. Right on the sideline, our sideline, he catches a pick. And he starts screaming, Joe, Joe. I'm like, oh, fuck you, man. I walk to the back. So I walked to the back, and then obviously Devin, I was playing twice a year. And then even some of the guys I coached when I went back and coached at Rutgers, Deron Harmon, Logan Ryan, started seeing a lot of those guys as I was coaching. So it was cool to kind of see, kind of almost come full circle, and I'm thinking to myself, like, how the hell are these guys still playing? I wake up out of bed and, like, my neck and back hurts, and these guys are still, playing at the elite level and, still starting and dominating. Devin's still one of the best best safeties in the league. Jason's still up there as one of the best corners out there. So
I loved having both of them on the team. It was so cool to see the dynamic between them. And then their mom, when they were on two separate teams, their mom had the two separate jerseys.
Yeah, and you don't get better guys. As good as they're on the field, they're even better people off the field.
I'm sure.
Everything they do with sickle cell and a lot of stuff they're doing off the field now with a lot of the prison reform stuff. They're just, and it's genuine. It's not bullshit. They're just genuinely good people.
I haven't heard a bad thing about any of them.
Yeah, they're great. They're great. But yeah, that was sick. And it's funny because, you knew in college like who was going. Obviously, there were some guys that developed and like end up sneaking in and surprising you. But I remember the first training camp practice we had in full pads with Ray Rice. I remember calling my brother that night when I got back to the dorm room, like, yeah, this running back we got this year is going to be sick. Like, he's going to be playing in the NFL. Like, you could just tell like just how he was different. He's just a different dude.
Yeah, they just have a different aura about them. You're just like, you're going to be something. I get it.
Yeah, and just how hard they practice and go after it. You see it. But yeah, that was the biggest thing was just that leadership we had, that senior leadership, everybody buying in. And then us just being able to kind of coach the young guys up. Hey, this is how we do it. Just buy in, let's go.
That's cool.
And we just started winning games, and the games started stacking, and then
obviously you get that momentum, you get that teamwork and momentum. When you're winning, everybody's on the same page, and everyone's amped up and excited.
And then it was sick, as something we never seen before. I got there and like you couldn't even buy a Rutgers football shirt in the store. You had to go to like the bookstore to buy it. So you're like going to the bookstore, like buying shirts for like your family and like sending it home, or like you told them when they come up to see, like, you got to buy it here because, like, Dick's was selling, like, Syracuse and, like, Penn State shit. Now, obviously, you're able to get in the store, so it changed a lot. But, still not where we want to be. But it was a fun ride, man. It was definitely – it made it even better that, we kind of struggled, and then you got that. Because, like, especially as that senior class, like, we busted our ass for that. All the crazy winter conditioning sessions – training camp practices, and the rules kind of changed. When I first got there was no rules. You could have a double session every day. So we had my freshman year, we had freshman camp. So there was like 25 guys on campus for 4 days doing 2-a-days. Then you had like a night off where you didn't even get to leave. You had to like stay in the dorm or like the Hale Center, which was your football facility.
Is that the way that they kept the players from like causing trouble and branching out? And
especially back
mischievous?
then. Yeah, especially back then. We had a lot of we had some characters on the team back then. But,
not as many security cameras around.
No. But and then just wrote in. Obviously, but those hard times are some of the best memories you have in your life. You know what I mean? It's you look back now and laugh. just the other night I was on a text thread with a couple of guys I play with, and we're sitting there laughing about getting yelled at or something the coach said to one of us and stuff like that, or just dying as you were running 13 gassers after a scrimmage or something like that. So it was definitely an experience. But yeah, man, I mean, just that old school, put your head down,
work hard,
keep chopping, as Coach Shanna was saying. That kind of became our mantra, just keep chopping. But yeah, that just put your head down and just get after it.
It's awesome.
Look up when it's over with and see if you like the result.
That's awesome. So now you go from Rutgers, and then how does your kind of strength and conditioning career blossom?
Yeah, so it's funny. I remember saying, obviously I loved the weight room at school. Ended up squatting 635. I had the squat record there for a while. Benching, I never hit 500. I'm so pissed. 485. I don't know if it was a mental thing, the 5 plates and trying to get 500, but I never hit 500 on bench. But I was also 280. I'll show you the picture later. It's hilarious. Shaved head, 280.
Let me see. You got it right now?
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me see, and then I'm going to add it to the I'm going to add it to the podcast. So, audio listeners, you want to see what my man looks like? You got to go to the YouTube video. Sorry.
Yeah, this is.
I would have widened the door frames if I knew this dude was squatting six back in the day, man.
Not no more. I'm not about that life anymore.
Damn, bro.
So that was our Bob Pod picture there. They would take those.
My man was thick.
Yeah, 22-inch neck.
Jesus. What up,
so
Kenji? Come and say hi. What's up, Kenji?
Kenji, what's up? Kenji heard squatting. He got excited.
Yeah, I'll give you a cookie, man.
Yeah, so yeah, man. So I obviously love the weight room. I remember saying to myself. And Jay Butler, our strength coach, Mike Tufo, Bob Gilmartin, we had a good strength staff. And, those guys, I kind of remember saying to myself, that's impressive. You got that?
He almost had it.
I remember saying to myself, it'd be cool to do this for a living. But, not really much thought into it. And then, I just got, my grandfather was one of my biggest heroes in my life. I wanted to be like him. He's a builder, real estate developer. And I was like, you know what, that's what I want to do after school. It's 2006. 2007, so before the recession happened.
Yeah.
So, getting out, I said, you know what, I'm going to go, build with my brother and my grandfather and just kind of, see where that takes me. That's what I wanted to do. I obviously grew up on a construction site as a young kid with that, and the gym, kind of bouncing back and forth with that. And, got out of school, it was going good. Then the recession hit, no banks were loaning money, construction business kind of, housing market, collapsed. Everything kind of came to a halt. And luckily, man, so my dad's gym, he ended up selling it to his manager at the time. I want to say like 2002, right when I went to school. And then the manager ended up closing the doors abruptly because of, didn't do it in a good way, but he was actually the owner of the gym at the time. And, just kind of closed the doors without telling anybody, took a bunch of people's money. So it's kind of a shitty way he did it. But,
There's a couple gyms on Long Island that did that.
Yeah, and, my family still owned the building, so my grandfather approached my brother and I said, "Hey, do you guys want to open up the gym?" And we said, "Yeah, we'd love to." So we just kind of scrounged our dollars together, and we had to remodel a little bit and rebrand it because obviously what happened, and we tried to take care of the members that got beat as best we could, but
yeah, it's tough.
It's tough when he's going up to people like, "Hey, give me $300 for 2 years paid in full."
Well, we heard this already.
Yeah, exactly. When it's too good to be true, it usually is, but. We try to take care of the people and, as much as we could without, killing ourselves. But, yeah, so then we had the gym, man, and that was a lot of fun. That was a learning experience. I was young. Obviously, my brother a little older than me. He was an entrepreneur, so he owned a few businesses before that. So he was kind of schooling me a little bit. And, just running everything from the day-to-day, when you're, helping out at the front desk, checking people in, sales.
There's a lot of busy,
cleaning up the floor.
A lot of busy work, man. There's a lot of extra stuff that
exactly.
goes into it, even with my stuff. There's so many facets to a job, especially when you're an entrepreneur and everything's on your shoulders versus just having a boss and just working and leaving.
Yeah, it snows out. You're in charge of shoveling, making sure the driveway's plowed, all that stuff, from everything to taking the garbage out, making sure.
I think you got a best friend,
that's
man.
Good, man. I'm happy. I was worried I was going to get killed when I walked in here looking at this killer. No, but it was a great experience. And then, it's funny, like a lot of stuff like that I look back on now in my life, like good things that happened has really been just me being like selfless and like kind of almost doing things for other people. So
which is what you hear from a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
You hear a lot of people say like when I didn't go for the money, and I did things out of the pure passion of either helping somebody else or just furthering my knowledge base on something. you hear that was the most gratifying and best experiences that
and it's
they've
really
had.
and it's even like too. You always hear people say like, oh, when I went to the homeless shelter and help, hand out food at the food line, or I went to the hospital and seen sick kids. Like, you almost get more out of that than the kids do, or the
people
homeless
in need.
people. Yeah, the people you're helping. Because that fulfillment you get, and I think that's big to kind of say on that. And then, so I was training my cousins at the gym. The NFL lockout happened in 2011. So those same guys that, I played with at Rutgers were all coming there and training. They were bouncing back and forth between Rutgers and my gym. We would just have a great time. They'd come in, train, hang out, get a shake. And then through that, I was just able to really just kind of learn, obviously the stuff I knew, but then kind of get, deep in the weeds with some of the recovery stuff. And it's funny, around that same time, I hurt my back pretty bad. I had a multi-level herniated disc working out in the gym. It was a body weight squat, like warming up, full sweat, like warmed up already. Jumped up, landed, back just went out.
L5, I have L5S1 herniations from a car accident.
Yeah, so literally, the pain then. Literally, like,
sciatic.
barely walk. Yeah, shooting pains going down the front, back of your legs. So, we were, in the gym. A couple of those guys had a fascial stretch therapist coming to the gym, stretching people. I could barely walk out on the table. That helped me out a lot. Still, obviously, the weakness was there, the injury was there, but just being able to walk straight helped. DeFranco's gym in Jersey, literally, like, by the grace of God, had a certification because the place Stretched Winds out in Arizona. Literally, like a month later, they had a certification up in Jersey that they don't even do anymore. It's just
this is for
weekend
fascia stretching?
Yeah, fascial stretch therapy, yeah.
Because my guy, Derlin Castro, I'm very close with, he does ART.
Yep.
He's the one who gives the certification class on ART.
ART is great, too. So it was just like a weekend course called The Essentials. Went and got that. They just showed you basically like the basic, like, low back, glute, hip flexor, hammy stretches, a couple upper body ones they threw in there for you. So started doing that, love that, really liked kind of helping the athletes that way and stuff like that too. Even like kind of my whole approach to training too was still the, the hardcore meathead, but that's kind of when some of the stuff started coming out, like, all right, you got to start taking care of the soft tissue as well as, you can't just lift, especially for the athletes.
Keep hammering the body.
Yeah, especially for the athletes. So really got into that. Then literally, so my cousins and a lot of his high school friends were coming there and training. Took my cousin. So now Shiano just got the job with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he left. My O-line coach, Kyle Flood, became the head coach. The assistant strength coach, Jeremy Cole, who I just missed him, but I seen, just shoot the shit a couple times going back and forth to games. But I didn't really know him like that personally. So I bring my cousin up to junior day. We're there bullshitting. Woke up 6 a.m. on my day off to, go pick him up, bring him up there. And, at the lunch, literally just started bullshitting with Jeremy Cole, the head strength coach at the time. Still a lot of guys that I knew were there. Obviously, the head coach being my offensive line coach, we had a great relationship. And we literally just talked for like 3 hours about training, like, how he liked doing it. Then I was telling about, the stuff I just learned about and the different stuff I was doing at the gym with the guys. And literally probably, I think it was a month before that, I just passed my CSCS. Because when I was at the gym training, at first I wasn't really training people because I didn't want to train Gen Pop.
And you're just kind of using your own knowledge base to help other people.
Exactly. So I didn't really want to train Gen Pops. I didn't want to be a trainer per se.
More specialized you want to be.
And then, so I was like, you know what? I was like, if I'm going to do it, I might as well go get the best certification I could get. And I had my bachelor's degree, so I was able to go get my CSCS, which was huge. So, I just studied for it forever. My own. That test is hard as shit, especially being especially being out of school for a couple of years and, then trying to get back into reading textbooks. But
like, damn, I got to read this whole fucking thing. This is crazy.
And I was never a good studier or test taker as it
me
was.
Too.
Yeah.
I need a highlighter? God damn. I know. I'm going to remember this shit.
Is this open book? Can I bring my notes in here? Then there's no one you could cheat off of.
Well, now it basically is online classes.
Yeah, you're literally in a cubicle like this at an H&R Block taking a test with like somebody watching you so you don't like pull your notes out. But yeah, man, and then literally got the call the next day, and our one assistant that was there when I played ended up leaving late and going down to Tampa Bay with Coach to join his staff down there, and just had the opportunity to go there and join the Rutgers strength staff as an assistant, which was a very untraditional path because usually, especially like the strength and conditioning, it's like got to put in your work. You got to, you got to intern for however many years, and you got to be a graduate assistant at the college level.
Is it a PT that would normally be the starting role? Like you'd have to have a PT degree, or you have to have your just certifications in something dealing with strength?
Back in the day, you didn't have to have shit. Like literally, if you were the meathead, you were the strength coach, and it was like really the meathead football coach would be the strength coach at the smaller schools, and then the role kind of evolved through the years, and the bigger schools started hiring full-time strength coaches and staffs.
Yeah, they realized the importance of it.
And, they had the CSCS certification, stuff like that. And then the NCAA made it mandatory to kind of stop because a lot of the schools were hiding extra football coaches on the strength staff. So they made, the certification mandatory, which is good, obviously, keep the athletes safe. Not that if you're certified, you're still not a knucklehead. But, was able to take that opportunity. My brother told me I'd be a knucklehead not to take it. And so did that. Was there 4 years.
How was that? How was that feeling?
It was sick. I mean, it was great to be back, where I was playing. It was just 6 years after I played there. So, it was still a lot of familiar faces in the building and around the university. I felt home. That was,
Yeah, that's what I would assume it would feel like.
Yeah, it was sick. I felt like I was home.
Years of building bonds with players, and then all of a sudden now you're on the other end of the spectrum, coaching up the younger guys now.
And it was funny, because, that senior, we had a special senior class that first year. We ended up only going 9-3, but at one point we were undefeated, 15th in the country. So I kind of thought, oh shit, we might be repeating, what we had here, And the wheels kind of came off at the end of the season a little bit. But I think that was definitely in Rutgers history. It was a record up there. I think it was the most players drafted by a Division I school at one point. I think we had I want to say 12 or 13 guys drafted from that senior class. So that was pretty sick. I mean, a lot of those guys are still playing to this day, so that was a special class. But, that was fun. In 2013, we took a little nosedive. 2014 was our first year in the Big Ten. And, we went 8-4 that year, or 9-3, 8-4, 9-3. So that was a big year. Ended up winning a bowl game. And then 2015, wheels just came off. All types of a bunch of players got arrested in the offseason for something stupid, an off-campus fight, but that was kind of blown out of proportion and just
as it usually is.
Yeah, but obviously it doesn't look good. Black eye in the university.
Yep.
So we kind of all knew the end was near. Then 2015, and that's the shitty part of the business. You don't hear about or you don't think about as a fan. The fan, oh fuck this guy, fire him, they suck, fire everybody, bring all new people in there. But there's, we're humans too on the other side of it. Even the players. So it's not only the coach, but it's his kids that are in school. Now, his uprooting his whole family, moving.
There's levels to this shit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not just, one person, you get rid of him, and then you think it's just going to change everything.
Exactly. A lot of life are affected, and everyone's not making what that head coach is making either. You got guys that are just making shit for the hours they're putting in, minimum wage, really, or under minimum wage if you calculate the hours they're putting in and what they're getting paid. And the college level doesn't pay that well, especially as an assistant. But, so from that, I still had the fire in my belly to coach. And it's hard to get jobs. I mean, you're not applying for these strength and conditioning jobs or really any coaching job. It's all your network, who you know.
So to get a job at an NFL team kind of like that, it's you have your network, and then they know that you're maybe available, and they go, listen, we know you're good at what you do.
Yeah, it's all relationships. I mean, that's everything in life is relationships, But it's just being a good person, your reputation, and obviously your body of work and kind of your knowledge. And I was lucky that I kind of had that niche of the fascial stretch therapy. Because then in 2015, I went and got level 1 of the certification, went out to Arizona. My wife ended up coming out with me and my son, who was only 2 at the time. They just stayed in the hotel, and we kind of explored Arizona after. But, from that, it was a week certification, and I learned a ton and brought that back. And then that kind of just gave me that niche there that, every fucking strength coach in the country could teach you how to squat, could teach you how to bench, teach you how to power clean. But it's like, what separates you? Are you a strength coach that's good at sports science, especially now, because that's where a lot of this is going at every level? They want to see, the data and some of the numbers behind that. So young strength coaches out there, that's what you got to do, find your niche, whether it's if you're the speed guy, the speed and change of direction guy, if that's what you're passionate about, that needs to be your niche. Or if it's recovery, you want to learn all about that, the different recovery modalities and how to apply that could be your niche. That ended up being mine. And then, or if it's, just being a good strength coach and being a hell of a dude, that's what you got to be, and it's different. College level's so different. I mean, now with the recruiting, I mean, it's crazy. You literally like sell your soul to try to get a 17-year-old kid to come sign at your school. And, if you see any big program on Instagram or any social media network, I mean, these fucking kids are going in for recruiting visits now and having like full-on photo shoots. And then you look at the kids page and literally every fucking picture is him at every major university in the country with their uniform on, throwing up their fucking team logo. And it's like, I'm a little older. This might be the old man coming out at me, but I'm like, man, come on. I'm like, I get it. Like, it's cool for them, obviously, especially probably the love they're getting on social media from, all their friends in school and all the girls. But it's like, I'm an old school dude, man. You pick your fucking school and that's it.
Yeah. Leave it at that.
And again, now, obviously, the game has changed a lot. These coaches.
It's flashy now.
Yeah, and these coaches could pick up and leave whenever they want. I mean, they're sitting in living rooms promising these kids and their parents everything in the world. And then fucking 6 months later, they're on a private jet flying to a school and signing with them and out of there. And this kid's stuck at that school that he just committed to. So, too, same thing when you're getting recruited, pick the school, not the coach. Obviously, you want to go play for that coach, but, that's another big make sure you're in an area where you want to be for the next 4.5, 5 years of your life because a lot's going to change in those 4.5. A lot of coaches are going to come and go.
It's almost like they pulled the rug out from underneath you.
Yeah, and, it's unfortunate, and we were lucky obviously when I played, Shano made that commitment and didn't leave. Obviously, he got an NFL job when he ultimately left, but he's back now. And, I think that he's going to end up being there a long time now. I think this is, obviously he realized this is where he's supposed to be.
And now I always looked at it, I want you to continue.
Yeah.
I always looked at it as when let's say a coach from a college team goes into the NFL and then they backpedal. Like, didn't Harborough do that?
Yeah.
I almost think of that as a step down, but it's not.
No, especially not what they're making now. I mean, it's a lot more, the offseason's a lot crazier in college than it is in the NFL. Obviously, the NFL, you're doing draft prep and you're watching film on guys you want and, you're trying to get your roster ready for the next year and then you got your offseason. But, I mean, college is just with the recruiting is just nonstop. And then your guys are back in a month. So your team's there and then you got spring ball. So your team's on campus. And I know the rules have changed a ton, even since I coached on how much you're allowed to interact and meet with the team. And recruiting, it's changing every day, the rules. But I mean, it's a lot of work. I mean, it's all year round. I mean, when I coached in college, I think you had like 3 weekends in the summer. That was your summer, because all of June was camps every weekend. So you had high school camps every weekend.
I remember. So I went to a summer camp when I was little.
Yeah.
Because my parents split up when I was young, and my mom was a full-time worker, so she always signed me up during the summer for Hofstra.
Yeah.
Had like a summer camp.
Yes.
Where you could do like science and you could do sports, stuff like that. We would see the Jets practicing there.
Yeah.
And we would see the college kids practicing there
Hofstra,
too.
yeah.
So that's back when they had their program.
Yeah. Bring Hofstra football back, man.
Yeah, what is that shit? They had this beautiful stadium.
Yeah.
I was a nerd kid in high school. I played in the marching band.
Yeah.
We used to have competitions at that stadium. That place was sick.
I mean, when they dropped the program, they had like 5 guys in the NFL that were playing at like the highest level.
Yeah, I
They
don't
had, like,
really
Willie
know
Colon who just won a Super Bowl with the Steelers. Marcus Colston was down at with the Saints.
Wasn't Mangold?
Steve Bowen? No, Mangold played Ohio State.
Oh, I'm thinking he was from Long Island though, wasn't he?
No, I think he's an Ohio kid. Somebody's from DeBrickashaw Ferguson was a New York guy.
Okay, that's probably
The other first round draft pick that year.
Yeah, because I remember somebody saying that they were from Hofstra and they were from Long Island and they were in the NFL, like in that area.
Yeah, well, Willie Colon was a New York guy. Willie Colon, I think, was from the Bronx.
Okay.
So yeah, and you had all those New York ties. So Dan Garay, there you go. There's your shout out for Hofstra football, man.
Let's go. Bring it back, man.
We're starting a campaign right here.
Yeah, I want to go see some games, dude.
Yeah.
I want to go out.
I mean, they
were
a good team too. It's crazy. I mean, I don't understand how you drop it. Obviously it's a lot of money to run any college sports program, but they got it over there. It's $70,000 a year now to go there.
Yeah, they got it.
Yeah.
When it's crazy when I hear you talking about the recruiting process and the drafting process. Have you ever seen the show Ballers?
Yeah.
I love that show.
Yeah.
And I think of that. I think it was the 3rd season where they were flying that kid back and forth to SC and SCU or USC. That's what it was. USC and then Ohio, and they were going back and forth, and they were almost just bidding for this kid. And they're like, "Yo, you need to commit to our school. You need to commit to our school." And it's like, oh my god, it's crazy, man. It's a lot of pressure, man. It's crazy.
You got to find your fit. It's tough as a young high school kid too, because you see these big logos that are all over the place, and obviously the rich get richer, especially now with these NIL deals like Alabama and Ohio State and the Notre Dames and the Texas, these schools with blank checkbooks. I mean, it's even not if it's the school themselves, just that deep alumni base that has that proud tradition. I mean, it's going to be hard to keep up with recruiting. But Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy process even for the kids, because then you got grown men like trying to court them, like, hey, like,
It's weird.
don't sign. Come, we'll fly you out this weekend, and then you got the coach.
You like girls?
Yeah,
you like girls? We got a ton of girls over here.
You got the coach that you were just with pissed at you because now you want to go see another school. It's crazy, man. And if you don't have that good, even a parent that knows it or been through it, the parents get caught up in the hype too. So it's kind of.
And then they're seeing, and then who's going to offer us the best ride?
Exactly, and then a lot of these kids, a lot of these kids have, some shady coaches that they think have their best interest in heart, but they're really getting, money under the table and stuff like that. So it's a crazy world, that recruiting world, and football's crazy, basketball's even crazier. You hear these stories and stuff like that, and it's nuts. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun experience for the kid. I mean, you're getting treated like royalty. You're getting flown all over the country, steak, lobster, everywhere you go.
And listen, it's not every kid, but a lot. A majority of kids you hear about their backgrounds, they don't come from the nicest areas.
No.
So like for them, this is a glimpse and taste into what they could experience if they go pro.
Yeah.
So they're seeing this as, I'm getting caviar, I'm getting private jets.
These big schools, it's actually nicer than the pros.
Yeah. I've heard the train facilities are insane.
We were lucky I mean, we had a really nice facility. Now the NFL teams are starting to really update their training facilities because obviously just with the whole sports science and recovery stuff like that, and even the weight rooms are kind of nicer. Because too, in the NFL, there's free agency, which is kind of recruiting, and obviously the building doesn't play that big of a role as it does in college with the glitz and glam. You kind of compare it to the other teams, but it does a little bit. Obviously, it's more of who's your head coach and who's your quarterback, really, in the NFL.
And what's your D look like?
Yeah, exactly.
Because if we're going to be playing overtime on the offense
it's more
side.
of a business decision in the NFL. You want to see kind of what pieces of the puzzle are there and how you're going to come in and fit in that puzzle. But, I mean, these college facilities are insane. I mean, they're spending in the South, which they're spending hundreds of millions to build some of these facilities.
Yeah, facility's insane.
Yeah.
And Sorinex is the company that they use a lot of the times to
Sorinex, Hammer Strength.
I love Sorinex.
Rogue is making a huge push now.
Yeah.
So it's it's crazy. But so then back to the recovery journey.
I was gonna say. So that we left off. You said you were out in Arizona and you were getting that certification.
Got certification. Through my time at Rutgers, we'd have a lot of the Hammer Strength clinics. Where coaches from all over the country would come and talk. And the Jet staff came out, Justice Galligan and the one assistant, Aaron McLaurin, who I ultimately ended up working with. Hit it off with those guys. They hung out afterwards. We were in the weight room shooting the shit, showed them some of the stretching stuff. And then really just like genuine like relationship. That was probably in like 2013, I think. And then, every time we had a break, every spring break, I would take a day, like, hey, is it cool if I come up, see you guys? Like, yeah, they'd always welcome me with open arms. I'd go there, hang out for the day.
That's cool.
And, learn from them. I show them what we were doing. They'd show me what they were doing, take some of the stuff back to our team. And so then the opportunity, got fired from 2015, 2016, trying to find something. That time off, I ended up going down to Myrtle Beach with the family, South Carolina. My wife and I went, and let me give a shout out to my wife Melissa because she's the rock star that kind of allowed me to take this coaching journey.
Shout out to wifey. Yeah. Shout out to wifey.
And she'll like that. She's probably laughing right now. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, so we went down to family vacation. My brother-in-law Sal and his wife came down with us and their kids, and I told her, I was like, look, like this guy Donnie Thompson's like an hour from here. I was like, I got to sneak and go see him for like, a few hours. Like he has this body tampering thing that everyone's talking about. I really want to learn about it. And she's like, yeah, go ahead. So I thought it was like an hour away. It ended up being like almost 2 hours away from where we were staying, Columbia, South Carolina. So I'm like flying there. I'm like, oh shit. So, and Donnie Thompson, I don't know if you know who he is. He's like the first powerlifter to total 3,000 pounds.
Thompson Fat Bells, right?
Yeah. Yep. Fat Pad, Fat Bells.
Yep.
I mean, he's the fucking man. I mean, and he's a great dude. Great dude. Like,
so it's like you kept a good relationship with him?
Yeah, great relationship. Still talk to him to this day.
That's amazing.
He welcomed me in open arms, man. So I was in contact with him when I was still coaching at Rutgers, emailing him like, hey, I want to come down and learn about this. I think I seen it on like YouTube or something. And just reached out to him. He got right back to me. He's like, yeah, man, whenever you can come down. Obviously the college schedule's crazy. Then we got fired. I really didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, you're in that like gap period.
And he was emailing me when I got fired, like, hey man, like seeing you got fired, like anything I can help with, let me know, blah blah blah, like just that kind of dude. You know what I mean? Like checking in on you. And So like, hey man, I'm being in South Carolina. If it's cool to come by, I was like, yeah, absolutely. So go there, show me show me the bow tie when that was still in like the prototype. Put that on me. That was awesome.
That's almost like the slingshot method.
Yeah, it looks like the slingshot, but it's like
it goes across your
like that.
it crosses the back.
Yeah, you put it on your back, and it really just pulls your shoulders back. It feels great. He like squats in it all the time and stuff like that. But even just like kind of wearing it around to pull the shoulders back really helps.
It helps with everything.
When we were at the Jets, we bought a ton of them for guys, the quarterbacks and stuff like that, just to kind of wear around if they're sitting in meetings.
I'm sure he loved that.
Yeah, especially those long summer camp, training camp guys sitting in meetings for fucking 3 or 4 hours. Hey, throw this on at least.
Well, yeah, even me right now.
Exactly.
I'm rolled over.
Yeah, I always catch myself too. Yeah. So, but then he went down. He showed me all about body tampering. And dude, so he rolled me out. So he did a static load. So he put like 300 pounds worth of the rollers on me, on my hamstrings. I got a picture of that so I can send to you. And then did one along my spine. So at first, like, oh shit, like trying to breathe. But dude, I got up and like, especially with all my back issues, I never felt better. Then we ended up squatting afterwards. And I'm trying to like he's on like his lightest day, and I'm like trying to keep up with him, me being the asshole meathead I am, and I'm like. So that was like the heaviest I squatted in a while I was there. Then we ended up going over to University of South Carolina. One of the guys I coached, Chase Dodd, who's actually an assistant at Rutgers now, was doing his graduate assistant there at University of South Carolina. So we ended up going over there bullshitting with him. I'm like, all right, guys, I gotta take off. My wife's gonna kill me. So literally drove 2 hours back in the car, and you know how it feels after you squatted heavy and you're in the car for 2 hours.
You got like the Jimmy legs. You're
Dude,
like, oh.
I got out of the car. I felt great. I'm like, oh, shit, there might be something to this body tamper thing. Day later, 11 and a half hours back up to Jersey. Got out of the car. Back and fucking legs felt great. I'm like,
that's weird.
This is crazy. And I called him, told him, like, dude, like, that's amazing. Like, I still feel great. So then, I ended up taking a job at St. Peter's University in Jersey City. Don't even have football. I was like the first full-time strength coach they hired. One strength coach, 19 sports teams. So that was just like, burn the boats, all hands on deck. Like first 2 weeks, I literally just had to like clean the weight room up just to like get it into a functional weight room. But I was lucky though, man. We had 8 racks. They weren't the best racks in the world. I don't even know what name brand they were.
They got the job done
with homemade, plywood platforms, and just like the worst dumbbells ever. Like the Dick's Sporting Good, like cast iron dumbbells. Half of them were bent and broken, but I just kept the ones that we could. And, just little, everything I seen, I was just kind of piecemealing stuff together there. And that was a great experience, man. You had some great kids. And then that was my first time training female athletes, too.
Big difference.
Big difference.
You have to really adjust the way that you position things. And
the school's in the middle of Jersey City, too. And I had the softball team coming in at 6:30 in the morning to train. So I almost got my father, kicked in. I'm like, we were kind of on, like, the outskirts of campus. So I'm like, all right, let me walk you guys back up to main campus after the lift because – it's still that early in the morning in the wintertime. It's still dark out. And, that was a great experience and just kind of learning really, obviously different personalities too. I seen every, male personality there was, but just different, the female athlete and kind of different stuff, they require with different ACL prevention stuff I was doing with them, with just some simple jumps and hops and stuff like that a lot of our female basketball players were really making strides with and helped them out a lot. The one girl recovering from ACL surgery, I mean, it was night and day from when we first started to when we, by the time I ended up leaving. And, so I was there for that whole fall into about 6 months. And then January, I got the phone call from the head strength coach at the Jets, Justice Gallick. He said, hey, one of our guys has got a job down at the Redskins or the Washington football team now. And, we're going to bring a couple guys in to interview. You're one of the guys we want to bring in. So I'm like, I'm there, man, please. And then went interviewed, thought I had a great interview. And it was obviously, I knew the guys, so I was a little comfortable with them, but still obviously treating them with respect. And,
the rapport is there, but you want to still be professional.
And I mean, they ran it great. It was an awesome interview the whole day we were there. And then, so I was the first guy to interview on like that Thursday, and I think the second guy was coming Friday, and the other guy might have been like Monday or something like that. And the whole weekend, I'm just like, man, and I was in a hole in the wall in a classroom building in Jersey City, and then you go there, and it's this beautiful facility,
damn, I gotta be here.
Yeah, I've been there, and I'm like, damn, I'm gonna have to mentally get myself right if I got to go back there. And then, yeah, man, I remember it was like a Tuesday night. I'm back in Jersey City in my office, like 7:30 at night. I just got done coaching my last team from like 6:30 in the morning and packing my shit up, and my phone rings, and it's Justice, and he's like, hey, man, like, I've prepared myself. I'm like, oh, fuck. Like,
yeah.
is this it? Like, be ready.
It's what it feels like.
Yeah, and then he was like, hey, you ready to be a Jet? And I was like, fuck yeah, let's go, man. And then, so my wife's whole family are diehard Jets fans. Grew up diehard Jets fans. I grew up a Giants fan because LT was my favorite player. But, I still like the Jets. Obviously, you root for the
technically root for New York, unless you're me.
Yeah, exactly. And, I had some ties to the Jets with different players and stuff like that. And, yeah, man, so didn't say anything to the wife. I kind of kept the secret the whole ride home. Stopped at, like, Dick's Sporting Goods, bought, like, a Jets T-shirt for my son and a Jets T-shirt for my wife. And I just, like, came in the door and, like, threw it at him. So that was a cool experience. Then we FaceTimed my brother-in-law, and then they're like, why are you guys all wearing Jet shit? And then, like, told them they were pumped up about it. So they really reaped the benefits of that. They still got more Jets gear than they know what to do with to this day, just from the 4 years I was there. But, yeah, man, I mean, that was a great experience. So, I mean, I learned a ton at Rutgers, but as a coach, like, those first 6 months at the Jets, I mean, I learned more than I did, my whole time as a strength and conditioning coach. I mean, Justice and Aaron were great mentors. I mean, they just everything from, like, I learned so much, not even from the programming aspect, but just kind of how to run a weight room and stuff like that, because it was different than the college level. College level, it's like you sign them to lift. It's these times, it's like, here you go. You're doing what we say, that's it. NFL, it's a different animal. You got you're dealing with grown men. You have everything from a 20-year-old rookie who's basically like your college kid to a 35-year-old vet who's married with 3 kids. So you're not treating them both the same. There's different conversations. Obviously, you got to educate the young guy a little more than you do the guy that's been around the block a little bit. It's more just kind of the conversation with the vet than it is kind of more of trying to educate,
nurturing type. Like, we're gonna bring you through this entire thing,
which was good because we were, when we had training camp before COVID locked us out of the offseason program, I should say, not training camp, we would keep the rookies separate for the first couple of weeks to really just try to teach them how to be a pro. Obviously, they all, a lot of them came from big schools and stuff like that, but they didn't. That's it. Like, yeah, you're here for 4 hours today, but you got a couple $100,000 in your bank account, and New York City's right there.
Yeah.
And with nothing to do the rest of the day. There's
Temptations.
no class. Yeah, there's no class. There's no study hall. There's no,
I'd be the best pro.
Yeah, there's no
because
checks.
I would go work out and I'd fucking go home and I'd sit on my couch
Would
and
you-
play
would-
Xbox
yeah,
and do my recovery.
Some guys do that.
Oh,
Some
my
guys do
God.
that, but it's tough though. I mean, you're a young dude. You got some money in your pocket.
I have no urge. Even if I
Yeah.
did, I'd have no urge to do it. I'd be like, damn, once I get in the jams and I'm comfortable, that's it. I'm staying.
Yeah. And it's funny, but a lot of people say that, but I think it's tough too. Like once that temptation comes, especially now with the phones. I mean,
Girls
with
hitting
Instagram,
you up, stuff
social
like
media.
that.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting invited to every party there is. You're getting invited to every, getting free shit thrown at you. Every girl in the area is probably, reaching out to you. But, and then we just try to educate them on that. Like, hey, like, it's kind of sacrifice what you want now for what you want in the future. Like, if you want to be, a guy that's going to play 8-10 years in this league, like, you got to start taking care of your body now, because a lot of those habits you create your rookie year are going to carry over the rest of your career. And, I seen guys that did it right. I seen guys that did it wrong. And, you got to take care of your body at that level, man. I mean, it is a violent sport. And,
Do you see the younger guys now versus maybe guys 10 years ago? Because obviously you were at the Jets for a couple of years. Do you see the guys in the younger generation, the rookie classes, leaning more towards that recovery side versus the guys from years past?
Yeah, almost too much, though. Like, you have to have something to recover from.
Okay, so you don't think they're pushing it as hard as they could?
And again, it depends on, what college.
Player to player.
Yeah, it depends on
player.
what college program they come from. Obviously some of them have, great strength and conditioning coaches in college. Some have shit strength and conditioning coaches in college. Some have no strength and conditioning coaches in college. Like, you get some guys from these smaller schools. It was kind of, it's still like, hey, like my O-line coach or D-line coach was the strength coach. And it was just kind of like, hey, here's your workout, do it, because he's trying to recruit, trying to friggin'
he's wearing every hat.
Do 10 other things. But yeah, I mean, not so much. They're definitely more educated on it now than I was, or I feel like players were back in the day, so they kind of know a lot more of the modalities. But we did a great job of kind of integrating everything. You know, we did. You know, we ran really a conjugate method, but we implemented everything into it. I don't know if you're familiar with RPR, but we threw like some of that stuff in there with the performance reset. It's just like different like wake-up drills, awesome stuff. So we had JL Holsworth come out and kind of do an in-service for us, and it's a RPR certification. Saw these different wake-up patterns, and I mean, that's just like scratching the surface. They could go deep into the woods. There's like 3 levels of certification where they start doing like vision field weaknesses and stuff like that. But it's just like a tool that you could add to your warm-up to just kind of help wake up different parts of your body. And, you know, we implemented the Theraguns and stuff like that. We're doing that. So, you know, with our warm-up station. So we would add a lot of the, not recovery, but more like movement, different modalities into our, you know, our warm-up. So warm-up would be like 4 stations. Then we go hit our bench squat or you know.
Is that what you guys did? You guys did compounds?
Yeah.
Not so much isolation?
Yeah, different stuff in the circuit. We do some isolation stuff, and then, you know, in season, it'd be Arm Farm Friday. So little, you know, and then one of our vets, Kelvin Beecham, wanted us to play Gap Band. So it was like all funk music on Friday, blasting from fucking 6:30 in the morning till we went out to practice. And, you know, we had a good group of guys, man. We had like 25 guys come in and hit arms on Friday. You know, just vanity muscles, just to feel good.
Yeah.
We'd sneak some you know, we sneak some recovery stuff in there, or really, you know, injury prevention stuff in there, you know, doing TKEs with the green band and stuff like that as a warm up, you know, some band pull aparts and stuff like that for, you know, your shoulders. And yeah, man, but I mean, it was good because it was just, you know, we ran Jim Wendler's 5-3-1,
yep,
which was great for the professional level because we could just we had our stock, and you know, we would do the same thing, training sub-maximal at 90% of their 1 rep max. And, you know, we had kind of stock numbers by position, and it was kind of like dead on, man. Like, you know, you'd have your outliers. You'd get your strong-ass DB that would come in and fucking could bench with the lineman, or you get your, you know, your linebacker.
Your DK Metcalfs.
Yeah, exactly,
just, like, fucking do everything.
You know, and you get your linebacker that, same thing, linebacker that could, you know, really is a DN, but, you know, as a linebacker, whatever, you know, whatever defense you were running. But, you know, we tweaked the numbers. But the 5-3-1, you know, in season, we want to do the rep out on the last set. Unless they were a guy that, like, was a practice squad player, then we let those guys rep out so we could kind of adjust our matches more and more. And then after every 3-week cycle, we would kind of bump the guys. And, again, depending on injury, if they were doing good, you know, we kind of would make notes like, hey, did he get smoked on his last set or did he kill it? So
everything is cataloged, so you have an intelligent way to approach the training next time.
Yeah, yeah. Everything was, they had to write their numbers down. If they had to get approval from us if they went up on our weights. Because that's the main thing. Like, these guys were all fucking freaks. Like, they could be as strong as they want to be. And, you know, it's just really, especially guys that want to go and get after it, you're protecting them from themselves. Like, yeah, you don't need to bench 500 pounds in season. We're all right now. You're still going to get strong.
Yeah,
hit this 405 for 3. You'll be all right.
God forbid you tear your pec,
Yeah,
man.
exactly. And, you know, and really it was just having those conversations with those guys. And as, you know, Justice ended up being there, I think, you know, almost 10 years, and Aaron was there 7 years.
Are they still at the team?
No, we all got.
It was like a whole shift.
They cleaned house when after the 2020 season, and you know, but once you build that rapport with the players, they trusted you. So then it was easy because you had there's a lot of turnover in the NFL, so you'd get a lot of new guys. But once you had, you know, your core guys that kind of there and fucked with you, they, you know, the veterans that came in seeing like, all right, these guys are good guys. You know, we could kind of. You know, we could trust them. And you know, it's different because then you get the veteran that comes in, like I did this. So, hey, we just do it this way. Like, you know,
we'll
try
tailor
this.
it to you.
If you're exactly. Try this, see how it is. And that's the thing, too. Like, it was really and again, like, we ran it like a college program, like, obviously within the rules of NFL, but we took care of them. Like, you know, it's like sometimes you hear that myth of, like, oh, why do you strength coach in the NFL let these players do whatever the fuck they want? You know, let them come in and they don't lift and they don't do that. Now, you know, you hear horror stories. Some places might be like that or used to be like that. But
I feel like your injuries would be through the roof.
Yeah, but it's you get what you allow, right? So if you allow that, yeah, they'll come in and fucking fuck around, do a set of fucking dumbbell shrugs and walk out. But if you hold them accountable, they're going to do it. Like, these guys aren't there by accident. These guys are there because, you know, a lot of them are obviously the best players where they came from, but a lot of them were the hardest workers too where they came from. You know, especially you see that with some of the smaller school guys, and even the big school guys too. But they're not there by accident. It's a hard process to get there. And obviously, you get your freaks that are just that much athletically
so
better
gifted
than everybody their whole life, and even in the NFL, they make it look easy. And obviously, some of those guys, and it depends on the personality. Those guys are some of the guys. Like I was listening to Jamal, like he says he can't sit still if his tank's not empty. Like he feels like he's got to go back.
Yeah.
Some of those guys are like that too. So you're like, all right, man, you got a game this weekend, so you got to kind of tailor it back a little bit. But
it's wild.
Yeah, I mean
that mentality is so.
And that's just in you. That's ingrained.
And I'm not
in
saying it's crazy like bad. It's just that it's a sick, crazy, intense type of mentality.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know if you heard the one where we went out to dinner for a buddy's birthday. Jamal trained early in the day. We went out to dinner. He had 3 sips of a margarita. 3 sips. He had a bunch of guac, and he had steak. Within probably an hour after us all just sitting there bullshitting, whatever, he just goes, all right, boys, love you guys. He's dapping us all up. He goes, I'll see you guys later, whatever. It's like 11 o'clock at night. I get home. I jump in bed. I'm like looking through Instagram real quick before I hit the sheets, and I like really pass out.
Yeah.
He's doing weighted carries at the gym. It's 1 in the morning. I'm like, dude, you're a different animal.
God bless him. That's amazing. But that's what makes him who he is, though.
Oh yeah, that's all he knows, because he needs to just, for him to feel fulfilled, and even then he doesn't feel fulfilled. For him to feel that work by his hands, he needs to just put all out in there, and like you said, empty the tank.
Yeah. So it's amazing, man. I mean, it was fun. You see, the D and O linemen that are some of the biggest human beings you ever seen in your life, that are freak athletes, strong as hell. Then obviously your skill players, they all have their unique skills and are still freaks and strong as hell if they want to be. And then it's fun, man. But it's really just, especially in season, like you really got to take to them. Like we box squatted all in season, just to help
I like box squats.
Yeah, it's help save their hits, throw chains on and stuff like that. So. Yeah. Obviously, the load's a little lighter at the bottom than it is at the top. So we did all little tricks like that really helped. And the guys liked and respected. We bought a ton of those Kabuki Transformer bars.
Yes, I was hoping you were going to say
those bars are the fucking best.
The Transformer bars,
Sick.
the Duffalo bars.
Duffalo bar, we bought a couple of them.
I have the Cadillac.
And then the Cadillac bar, we had a bunch of them.
That's why my order was backed up during quarantine.
So we had,
fucking Jets were buying all of them.
Kabuki stopped by one time. A couple of the guys were there, and they just had a couple demo bars with them. And that's the beauty of being a part of an NFL organization. They showed us the trap bar, that sick trap bar they made.
The open trap bar.
So they had they had the open trap bar, and they had the Cadillac bar, and I think we already had a Duffalo bar, but I think they had another one. And the guy was just like showing them, like, yeah, these are the bars, and we were just like, are those for sale? And he's like, yeah, actually they are. We really don't feel like shipping them back from. So we ended up buying them, and that was great. And then we ordered a ton of them. And unfortunately, we fucking got let go before we had a bunch of them, because we ordered literally 12 Cadillac bars for every rack.
Each rack.
Yeah.
And you guys have Sorinex racks there?
No, we had Hammer.
Okay.
Hammer. So we redid the room the year friggin'. We got shut down in quarantine, so we didn't really get to use it. And then it was a shit show in 2020 with all the rules. You had to have the weight room divided. We had magic COVID curtains.
Yeah, they stopped the virus spread. Yeah. It's crazy how that works.
So and only 10 guys on one side of a guy 10 times. It was nuts. But we did what we had to do, and just to keep the players.
Yeah,
the main thing is just keep the players as safe as possible and get them better.
And then you had guys opting out for the COVID year, I'm sure.
Yeah. C.J. Mosley was a big name that ended up opting out, and
Hightower opted out for Patriots. He did not come back the same.
Yeah,
I feel like that gap year when you're not really doing the same shit.
I mean, C.J. Luckily for the Jets, ended up balling out this year. So good for him that kind of worked out for him to his benefit a little bit. And a lot of these guys are banged up too, man. Like even injuries you don't see or know, like some of them nicks and bruises that kind of been lingering for years. Some of the times that time off will kind of. And when do they really ever get take that time off?
Yeah, they don't.
It really, really could help the guys. But like you said, especially in a sport like football, where if you're a 28, you're an old man. Like it's dangerous to kind of.
I think the Hightower's in his 30s.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a fine line to walk. Where you might feel better, but you're still aged. You aged the whole year.
You aged that whole year, and you weren't training, and you weren't putting pads on, and you weren't hitting people, and it's a big difference.
And that's what and that's where we would tell our guys, like, look, like. Still got to lift in season, man. Like you can't. And again, we would do stuff. We had the Cadillac bars. we taped the shoulder saver, the lead FTS shoulder saver to the middle
Love
of
a
it.
lead FTS. Big Dave Tate fan. And
Guys,
my man Nate, I know Nate listens to the podcast.
Yeah.
Nate Harvey, the homie.
No, Nate's the man. Nate and Justice are good friends. They played football at Brockport together.
Okay.
So Nate came out, did an in-service for us on his whole conjugate method. It was
Nate's
sick,
a fucking
dude.
unit.
Oh, he's the
Nate's
fucking
great.
man, dude. He knows so much. Like that day we spent with him, he was showing us just like, when you're when you're doing your dynamic pulls, like how to just everything, just your setup, everything, how to set the bands properly, like sick. That was an awesome experience. But and
you said you bought it from you said you were getting the neck saver before I interrupted you. You said the neck saver from
the shoulder saver, shoulder saver,
yes,
that you would put on the bar, but we taped it to the Cadillac bar.
Okay.
So our O linemen, their shoulders and wrists are fucking shot by week 3 in the season.
Is it that bad for them?
Some of them. I mean, you're just you're shooting and somebody hits. So, they just like that neutral grip instead of kind of being the traditional grip on the bar.
It's so much more comfortable.
And then that bar, just how it kind of it was great. So a lot of our guys with shoulder issues, even some of the skill guys with shoulders, we'd have that and a fat pad, a Donnie Thompson fat pad set up.
So everyone can fit on it.
Yeah, exactly. And these guys, but the guys loved it. And
I want to make my bet out of this.
So
this is great.
we had like 5 of them. So we would set up a few of them for the lifts, and that helped the guys out. Just little tweaks like that, just to show the guys like, hey, like we're gonna take care of you. You still could lift.
You can still do exactly what you want to do, but just
got to modify it. Yeah.
Just do it a little bit this way, and you'll save yourself pain in these areas.
Exactly. And it's doing it smarter too. Obviously, with all the shit out there, and as much as you're learning, there's ways you could still train. And obviously, there's injuries you can't train through, but there's ways you could still train through the little nicks and the bruises to help. One, it helps you with the injury. I mean, my back when I like, if I miss squatting for a couple weeks or whatever, or I'm not being lazy and not deadlifting or RDL, and like I start feeling that shit in my back quick. Like what does Louis Simmons always say? Weak things break. Like you start feeling it pretty quick. Like I'm not throwing 500 pounds on a squat bar anymore, but I feel like I still have to squat.
Yeah.
Even if it's just, 285 on a friggin' kabuki bar, which feels heavy as shit.
Yeah, just something to get that movement.
And, it's just something to keep that movement, and it just helps you feel strong in your back. I mean, it helps me with my back. And again, being smart, obviously doing good technique, 20-minute warm up before, whatever you got to do to get your body mentally ready to feel.
I'm the worst at warming up.
Yeah.
I'm the worst. I'll go do a couple side raises. I'll do like a couple little quick stretches.
Yeah.
And now I rock right into it.
Yeah.
But the best I ever felt in general, and the best my body ever looked, was when I was deadlifting 2 to 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And I was 190 pounds and I was pulling 500.
Yeah.
So I was fucking killing it.
We did a Christian Thibodeau program, and it was something similar to that.
What's that? Christian Thibodeau. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's out of Canada. He has a bunch of great programs. So we would try different programs and stuff as a staff together, not with the guys. And he had one. It was like every day you would squat, bench, and deadlift. But obviously it was like different. Like one day it'd be the heavy squat day, and then it'd be like your dynamic bench day, and it'd be like eccentrics on deadlift. So obviously the loads were different. So you weren't like, it was still hard as shit, but you weren't like, that was probably the strongest as an adult like I ever got.
Yeah. And you probably weren't even pulling like crazy numbers, but you just felt that weight was just getting lighter and lighter.
The wall. Yeah. And then bench, I think I ended up hitting like 415 on bench at like a 220 body weight. Like
that's wild.
Yeah. At 36 or whatever I was at the time, 35. Like, so that was fun doing it. But again, it was doing it, just following the program, not being a meat stick and like, I'm going to bench squat and deadlift every day as heavy as I can until I can't walk. But, I like doing that. I like trying different coaches' programs and just experimenting with that. We did that a lot at the Jets. That was fun. And, it was great because then you kind of see what worked for you, different exercises or circuits you would, use with, stuff you could use with the guys, stuff you can't use with the guys.
And it opens up their eyes as well because they see that you don't just have to do this same shit over and over again. There's different ways of manipulating the body and manipulating the lifts to make sure like A lot of people, I don't know if you remember John Meadows.
Yep. Yeah, we do a lot of John
Meadows stuff. I was very close with John, so I do a lot of his mountain dog stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. I do his programs, and I introduce a lot of my friends and people to his programs.
Those Meadows rows will humble you.
They'll humble you, exactly. Yeah,
and then when you get that full, not short stroking it either, that full stretch, and then you're freaking pulling all the way to that hip.
And he does a lot of dead stop rows.
Yeah, those dead stop rows.
He does a lot of 1.5s on hack squats.
Yeah.
So going down all the way, up quarter, back down, up. Yeah. That's 1 rep. So stuff like that a lot of the people that don't ever train with me, that finally train with me, whether it's a new training partner or just somebody that wants to come train, they experience it. They're like, yo, this shit just beat me up. I go, yeah, but you're going to get stronger with it. Like, the more you do it, I started doing his shit in 2012.
Yeah.
The more you do his programs, the better you're going to get at it and be able to just feel it out more.
Yeah, that's the thing, too. Like, obviously, at the first week of any new program, you're going to be sore as shit. And, every part of your body is going to ache. But, that second week,
a little better.
Yeah, and then that third week, you're feeling good. Better. Yeah, exactly. And then you roll through it. But, so back to the body tampering. I ended up going down there. Donnie was awesome. Learn that. Get the job with the Jets. And, I was able, Justice and Aaron were awesome. Obviously, they asked for a lot of my input on stuff or, what stuff that you think we need.
Which is nice because you don't always, as a new member of a team, you don't always get that support.
There was no egos there at all. I mean, Justice and Aaron were awesome with that. Just really, hey, that's all they cared about was what can we do to make it better for the players. That's was our main goal with everything. Like, how can we make it, get the players stronger and faster, keep them safe? What recovery stuff can we do? We brought a team dietitian in, Nikki. She was awesome, with the same, just on that same level. She was a former D1 soccer player, so she knew.
That's awesome.
She knew what it was to play and stuff like that. So she really did a great job of taking care of the guys on that aspect, which was huge for us because then we could just kind of focus on the strength side of it and educate them on the recovery side and having her as kind of a sounding board too. Like, hey, what do you think we should do with this guy? So that was huge. And then, we ordered 6 rollers from Donnie. He had his guy Big Hess out in Chicago. If you look him up on Instagram, if you're looking to get some of the custom body tampering rollers, he makes them. Oh, dude, he makes them sick. He makes them awesome. But custom logos, whatever you want on there, he'll paint them up for you. But they're awesome. But and we just started doing that with the guys. And before practice, I have a line of 12 guys that are getting rolled out real quick. Get them out to practice, then just even quarterbacks were coming in and getting a roll.
Probably night and day for the bigger guys.
Oh yeah, I mean because they're sitting on a foam roller, and we use PVC pipe as the foam rollers instead of foam rollers because even the skill guys are so muscle, so thick.
Yeah, dense. You want to get through everything.
Yeah, that they're not those sitting on a regular foam roller. That ain't doing shit for them. So we use PVC to roll the guys out, and then we would, obviously, I would or one of the coaches would roll guys out. And, man, it was great. The guys loved it. And, that was just, again, that kind of gave me my niche that I was, the body tampering guy. So, you'd have guys coming into the weight room to see you, and that just kind of helps you, in your career going forward and stuff like that.
Yeah, expand your name.
And, two, it was huge because then, you were able to build a relationship with players, too, because now, if you had to go have that hard conversation with them to try to get them to do something they didn't want to do, it's look, dude,
come on, let's just talk to me. Yeah, we're both humans.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk it out.
Obviously, every bench lift in my mind, I'm fucking killing myself rolling 130-pound fucking steel up and down your back and your legs. I'm going to take care of you, So, and it was good because it just helped you build that rapport and the trust with the players. But, yeah, man, I mean, for the most part, though, it was great, man. Obviously, you had your couple shitheads here and there, but that's in anything in life.
So that was actually one of the questions, and I don't want to cut you off, but that was one of the questions just kind of while you're on that topic. It was how do you deal with so many egos in it? Because whether it's a big ego, whether it's a small ego, how do you maintain I guess the status quo for everybody?
I mean, really, kind of like I touched on earlier, just treating them like adults, and it's really what's the goal, right? So if we're squatting and you have a 190-pound or 80-pound receiver, that runs a 4.3, do we really need to load him up with 315 on his back? No, it's all right, you don't like squatting or whatever, you're uncomfortable squatting, we'll go to pitch shark. No, do the pitch shark, we'll do some other, kettlebell goblet squats, we'll do different stuff to still load you up.
Stimulate.
Yeah, exactly, still stimulate. And then just that there, them seeing that you actually care, and it's not no, fuck you, you're squatting, or that's it.
Because I'm sure there are coaches like that.
Yeah, and I don't know, you know
how effective
so
that is.
much in the NFL because, you know, they could just tell you to go fuck yourself there because there's no, you know, obviously they're an employee too. You know, it's not really that. It's more of a peer relationship than it is, you know, that coach, especially with the strength coach, more of that coach-player relationship that you get more in college. But, yeah, I mean, and obviously, you know, you got guys that are having bad days, and it's really just knowing your players and talking to them. And obviously,
humanizing it.
Yeah, exactly. The more time you spend there, it's like, dude, what's going on? Because even the guys that are, like, assholes, like, you could tell when they're really being an asshole. And it's like, all right, dude, what happened? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, what's going on? Because they're humans, too. You know what I mean? They have families outside of football. They
Stresses.
Have contracts
coming up.
Exactly, and probably more stress. And a lot of things, especially, like, fucking 75% of the team, probably even more than that, are really like week to week. They don't know what the fuck. They could get cut on Tuesday and be in Jacksonville by friggin' Wednesday morning, and their whole life was in Jersey still. You know, or, you know, they're from, you know, their wife or fiance is in Atlanta. They're playing in New York. They get cut and claimed by San Francisco. Now they're on the other side of the country. Their, you know, their wife or fiance could be pregnant in another state. Like, it's a lot.
And they got to learn a new playbook.
Exactly, and there's a lot that goes into it. You know, every day is a job interview for those guys, and really everyone in the building. You know, that we even treated it like that as well, just to really just stay on our P's and Q's. But yeah, it's tough, man. Like, these players go through a lot of shit, and, you know, obviously, but they're making millions of dollars. Nah, not all of them. By the time, you know, taxes hit and then agent fees and stuff like that, like, it's different. And, you know, some are taking care of a lot of people too. You know, that's another thing, you know, that the league tries to educate them on. A lot of veterans try to educate them on is like, look, like, that money, you know, don't last long. And two, it's different. Like, yeah, you might come in and your boy, you know, in your draft class is a first-round draft pick and he got that $20 million signing bonus, and you're, you know, a fifth-round pick and you got the $20,000 signing bonus. It's a different tax bracket, brother. Like, you can't, you know, be going to New York City and popping bottles like that and buying, you know, Jordans every other day to work out in. Like, it's different. You know, don't try to keep up. You know, just do you, and just, you know.
You don't have to, and you don't have to, you know, support the block.
Exactly.
You don't have to support every fucking person you know.
And it's tough
because there's going to be a lot of people that are looking for handouts.
Man. I mean, just even some of the calls I was getting, more not financially, but like just for tickets and like shit like that from people.
Sure.
People I'm not even cool with.
Yeah.
Like, people
could you get me in so I could see this player?
People reaching out to my brother, you know, and family members for stuff. I'm like, who the fuck is that? Like, I don't, you know, and I'm all for taking care of people that take care of me and stuff like that, and not even doing it for a reason, but, you know, with the kids and stuff like that, yeah, anything for, you know, young kid, get them hats, shirts like that all day. But yeah, there's a lot of outside stresses that come in, man, that you don't realize, you know, as a fan sometimes, and even, you know, sometimes as an organization. I think you almost like dehumanize these guys because, you know, it's a business at the end of the day, like, and they're, you know, they're the business, for, like, you know, lack of a better term.
They're a walking business card.
Exactly. So it's like, you know, but you still got to remember at the end of the day, like, they're going through the same emotions we're going through. Sometimes even more, you know, more.
Elevated.
You know, so and
they deal with fucking people talking shit to them if they do a little bit bad in a game online.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at the Cowboys games. You have fucking fans throwing fucking shit at the players as they're walking off the field. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that same fan you would have fucking gave your left arm to get an autograph from before the game. Now you're fucking throwing something at the guy. Like, come on. Like, so
it's the hot and cold flips that people get. That they just act like.
And I get it. Like, you know, obviously as a fan, you're emotionally invested into it, you know, and stuff like that. And it's fun to, you know, get a little crazy at the game.
Oh, don't get me wrong, man. I've lost my cool and been like,
you know, at the end of the day, it's like, all right, dude, like, they're going home to their families, like, you're going home to your families, like.
Yeah, watching the Patriots get spanked by the Bills on the last one. That was it was a tough
tough.
Watch, but like, listen, it is what it is.
I can't say I was upset by that.
That's all right. I
was on the other end of that from the Patriots many times. I mean, even the Bills being a division, you know, obviously in the same division too. But kid from my hometown is starting left tackle. Deion Dawkins starts for them, so I was pulling for them just for the hometown Rawway guy.
That's cool.
The hometown Rawway, got to see him go. But
listen, there's no hate. One of my really good friends, we went to the main event. It's a sports bar in a town. It's in Farmingdale, and we went there, and he's wearing his Patriots jersey. I'm not wearing anything. I'm just wearing my coat and shit. And we go there, and you know, we're getting eyes because everyone's looking around you. But there's other games on, so everyone's listening to their own team.
Yeah,
and he just goes, yo, bro, you brought us to a fucking Bills bar. I go, dude, do you not realize that we're Patriot fans in New York?
Yeah, in New York.
Anywhere is not a Patriot fan, unless we go to New England. I don't know what to tell you, dude.
You might see one or two guys out here, but not many.
Then maybe we should have watched it at one Patriot place. I don't know what to fucking tell you.
It's like going to the Bronx with a Red Sox hat on.
Oh, yeah, you don't do that. You don't do that. Maybe, you know what, nowadays it's not as bad, but like in the early 2000s, you get jumped and shit. People took that shit seriously.
Especially like a guy in like your 20s or 30s. You might get away if you're like a kid or something like that there, but not as a man.
Nah, they're going to hold you accountable.
Yeah. They'll G-check you real quick in the Bronx. They don't care. They don't care.
I want to get to a couple questions.
Yeah, let's do it.
I want to get to a couple questions. I had some good ones along with the one I just asked you. Let's see. So my buddy Vinny asked, he is somebody that coaches for baseball. Mm-hmm. He coached a couple colleges on Long Island. Then he moved to North Carolina, coached down there. Nothing in the top collegiate or pro levels, but still somebody that takes it. Still somebody that takes it seriously with the coaching. He says, how do you differentiate workout programs from position to position?
And again, football is a little different than baseball, but obviously, maybe your pitchers you'd probably treat like your quarterbacks and stuff like that. Obviously, that they should probably be on. They're not even so much a different program completely. Off season, obviously, you could do a little more with the pitchers and the quarterbacks than you would in season, and really just kind of tailoring that program to them. Obviously, with your quarterbacks doing a little more. Shoulder strengthening exercises, and some people don't like straight bar benching the quarterbacks and stuff like that. Maybe some more dumbbell stuff, or with the throwers, just because it's kind of that position you put in. But I kind of take it individual by individual too, because sometimes you get that quarterback or pitcher that likes to lift, and if they like to lift and they feel good after they lift, let them lift, because they're going to feel good when they're out on the mount or they're throwing the ball.
They've been trained that way their entire life, so the body's used to it to some degree.
And again, like obviously in season's different, but little tweaks like that. I don't think it has to be wholesale. Like your linemen have to be on a different program than your linebackers, and your linebackers have to be on a different program than your quarterbacks and DBs and receivers. I think obviously there's different weaknesses you need to work on at positions and stuff like that. But, sometimes you see a lot of you think like with some of the more skilled guys, hey, maybe, I should do more like single leg RDL stuff and instead of, back squatting them. But really it's the big guys are in that position the whole time, that, unilateral position. And it's the skill guys that are kind of on that, the one leg all the time for his position. And so it's kind of almost flipped what they need too. So just kind of really just by the individual and just, obviously just making smart little tweaks. It doesn't have to be, wholesale, completely different programs. Obviously, you want to, as a coach, you want to, your philosophy, you kind of want to stick with that and just being smart enough in the guidelines to add little things. Even if it's something from changing a bench to a dumbbell bench or TRX push-up if you want, whatever you want to do with them, just something different. But it doesn't have to be a wholesale change, because a lot of times they'll benefit from a lot of that stuff. That stuff's in your programs in there for a reason. And, just little, obviously, the nature of baseball, kind of everyone's almost a rotational player just from swinging the bat. So obviously you're going to have that similarities across every position there. And, obviously some of your Haas's that are just that big DH or that big first baseman that kind of come in and just, you want them to hit the shit out of the ball. Those guys you might want to kind of load up a little more than you would a pitcher and stuff like that, just to keep that strength.
So just being smart about the training approach and tailoring it to make sure that it fits what they're doing, not only physically wise and how they're built, but how they've previously trained, and then obviously what their position calls for. Yeah. So there doesn't have to be crazy differences, but like you said, small incremental little differences between exercises between one player to another might help leaps and bounds.
Yep. Yeah, and then just, again, obviously at that level, he probably knows his players better than anybody else. So, too, just kind of knowing the player and tailoring it to their, not personality, but tailoring it to their needs.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. We got how did you get the job? You went over that. What does it take to be the best strength and conditioning coach?
Really, man, just putting the ego aside and just kind of being a servant leader. Like, it's about the players. It's not about you. Obviously, learning as much as you can helps too, and just kind of really being open-minded to different training methods and kind of, what at what time is going to be best for your players and that individual player. Like, you see, I'm only conjugate. oh, I'm only Olympic lifting. Like you could use all that
everything.
together. Yeah. You even friggin' take something from yoga and Pilates and put that shit in there and friggin', smoke the guys with it. So it's really just being open-minded, trying to keep learning as much as you can, and just kind of implementing what you see fit. Just don't be a one size fits all. Like kind of just try to be as open-minded as possible.
Being a constant student.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah, I mean, you constantly got to be learning, especially as
that's why you keep getting all the certifications and
stuff's
doing
changing,
different programs.
I mean, you try different programs, you learn stuff, what works, what doesn't work, or what you like, what you don't like. Just kind of tailoring it that way.
It's awesome. A buddy of mine said, "Why can't we have nice things like a Lombardi Trophy?"
It's tough, man. It's tough to win in New York. It's a tough. Obviously, the Giants have been struggling too, but it's a tough.
They cleaned house.
Yeah, it's a tough market. It's. I mean, really, it's across the whole NFL. I mean, you see the teams that are good year in and out. They have the same thing: consistency. It's hard to be good when you got a new coach every 2 or 3 years, or a new quarterback every 2 or 3 years. I mean, if you look at the teams that have been good, obviously you get your flash in the pants here and there, but consistency at head coach and consistency at that quarterback position.
Cool. Buddy of mine wanted to know, how can our aspiring youth approach the NFL/major leagues for a role?
Just intern. There are a ton of internships out there, and really just trying to network as best you can. Going to talks like those Hammer Strength Clinic talks and stuff like that, and they're not that expensive. I think they're like $100 a pop, and even the students, it's a little cheaper, I think. And really, just getting out there and try to meet as many people as you can, and just be humble. Like, don't be cocky, arrogant when you go in there thinking you know everything. Just go in there.
Go in there like a student.
Yeah, as a student. Yeah, don't try to say, like, you impress them with, oh, I know this and I know that. Just open-minded, try to learn as much as you can. And that's, unfortunately, I know it's harder as you get older to do an unpaid internship, but, that's really just the best way to get your foot in the door, because that's the only way you're going to build relationships with these guys. Unless you're fortunate enough to know somebody, that knows somebody, and obviously playing sports helps just through your coaches. Obviously that
the ladder up.
Yeah, their network becomes your network, especially if you're a good, good dude or a good girl that, put the work in, and your coaches obviously think highly of. They're going to make that call for you, no problem. And it's funny, that's how we got our one paid intern at the Jets. Frank Falaise, a teammate of mine, Anthony Campanelli, who's just the linebacker coach with the Miami Dolphins. Not sure what's going on now down there with that situation, but he coached him in high school. We played together at Rutgers. We coached together at Rutgers. And same thing, he just called me up. He's like, yo, Joe, he's like, I got this kid, former player of mine, great dude. Just wants to learn about how he could, get into strength and conditioning. Just graduated, has all certifications. So I'm like, yeah, tell him to call me. We literally talked for half an hour, like, hey, man, and I just told him the same thing, like, dude, just keep reaching out to all your coaches like you did. Try to talk to as many people like me as you can. Just try to intern somewhere, just get that experience, get their network, do as best job as you can. And then literally 2 weeks later, the guy that was supposed to come in for a paid internship backed out because he got a full-time, an assistant job offer. And, we're sitting there like, fuck, like, do we have anybody? Like, the offseason starting in like a week. I'm like, I talked to this kid like 2 weeks ago. He seemed like a good dude, and he's right here in Jersey. Like, and then it just worked out, and he ended up being there 2 years with us. And
That's
now he's an assistant at East Carolina. So, those stories like that you hear, like, just be open-minded, and then when you get there, just bust your ass. Because it's a hard business, man. I mean, it's long hours, but it's fun, especially as a young dude, single, no kids. What else you got to do? If you love training, you're in a weight room all day, friggin', training, you're learning stuff. It's great. Great.
It's awesome. You kind of touched on how do you program older athletes compared to rookies a little bit.
Yeah.
If there's like something else you want to just elaborate on that just briefly.
Yeah, I mean, really, obviously, again, it's the individual. If it's an older athlete that is, still in decent shape and likes to lift heavy, like, just save him from himself and, just try to be as smart as you can with the programming part of it. But, again, just knowing that injury history, obviously you're not going to put him on a 5-day-a-week program for an older guy. That I feel like that 3-day-a-week or even 2-day-a-week in season, depending on what time of year it is, again, really works for the older guys. Just gives them that kind of day in between of recovery. And I think, that's even me personally now. Like, I like that kind of 3-day split, or even, if it's a 4-day one, that maybe that if it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday, that Tuesday and Thursday kind of being just a lighter, maybe higher volume day than it is.
types.
Yeah, than it is really just trying to get after it, 4 or 5 days a week. And I think that really helps the older athletes. And again, too, it's just having that conversation with your athletes and just knowing kind of what they need and what they want.
Cool. What percentage of strength and conditioning at the pro level is skill and knowledge / effort, and how much of it is politics? Maybe a mix?
Yeah, it's probably a mix. And I wouldn't even call it politics. It's really just relationships.
Rapport.
Yeah, rapport with people and obviously relationships. And it's the name of the game, Like, obviously, guys are going to bring in who they're comfortable with, Unfortunately, strength coaches most of the time are tied to the head football coach. So when he gets fired, you get fired. Obviously, you're not the one calling the plays out there. And sometimes, you'll take the fall for if the organization's going to shit. And that's even in college, too. Blame it on the strength coach if the team's not doing good because we're too slow.
Isn't that weird how that works?
Yeah, we're too slow and we're injured. But, yeah, I mean, it's just relationships, man. I mean, obviously, sometimes shitty people get good jobs because they did a good job faking the funk and getting a good position. But, I feel the truth will always come to the light. It's just it shines through. But, yeah, I mean, obviously you got to know what you're doing. And, just being a good person and being a good coach, I think will kind of help you along the way. And, again, everyone's path wasn't meant to – there's only 32 of the jobs in the NFL. Everyone's path isn't to be the head strength coach for an NFL team, even if it's – you might be a kick-ass private sector coach and just take that role and just kind of go with it, and you'll get the same fulfillment out of it as you will of being in the NFL, and without worried about getting fired because it's on your own.
That's cool. Awesome answers, man.
I'm trying.
You're doing fucking great. You're killing it, man. Listen, podcasting should be in your repertoire now.
I'm trying to lean back on my old school media training back in the college days.
No, you're awesome, dude. Seriously,
you're good though. You're not baiting me with any questions.
No, never. That's not what this is. This isn't an I got you type of. And then I use big buzzwords to. Yeah. He says the Jets suck because of this. Like I don't do that shit. Like it's just real natural. That's what it is. Thoughts on Wilson?
Hell of an athlete. I don't know him personally. I didn't get to meet him. Okay. I was gone before he got in there. But again, man, there's only 32 of those jobs. So if you're there, you're there for a reason.
Yeah.
And I hear he's a great dude. Excited for him. I mean, I wish him the best. Obviously, this is one of the toughest
leagues
markets to come in here. Jets fans, especially Jets fans. I mean, you guys talk more shit about the Jets than Patriots fans do. But again, I know I don't
say anything.
It's all out of love. It's all out of love. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously New York City, this market, the biggest media market in the world. They want results yesterday. So I think it'll be all right. Especially seeing hopefully this offseason they could put some pieces around him to help him succeed and go from there. I mean, I wish him the best. I think I think he'll do all right. The funniest shit I read, though, about him was on Instagram. It was Zach Wilson looks like a Disney actor playing Zach Wilson. That was one of the funniest things.
He really does.
That was one of the funniest things I read.
He looks young.
Oh, yeah, he looks young. But, I mean, kid gets out there and balls, though, man. I mean, cool. It's, some of the stuff I seen this year was pretty impressive from him. So, I mean, he could play. So it's just hopefully
that's all that matters. I got no hate on anybody. No. I wish everybody the best. It's a tough fucking sport, man.
Yeah, it is.
And you're getting beat the shit
especially
out of every single week.
Like,
oh, you're taking these hits and shit.
And then you're trying to read the coverage. You still got to remember what everyone's doing on the offense in that play. You got to do your job. Fucking try not to get killed by this 6'6", 320-pound D tackle that's coming at you. Like,
yeah, I'm good on that.
A lot of shit.
I like watching.
Yeah, a lot of shit going on in your mind pre-snap there.
And then my same buddy asked, "Was Darnold the problem?" He says, "Or was it more personal and scheme type stuff with the I guess the Jets and their situation with him?"
I don't know. Darnold was a great dude, man. Hell of a player. It's just
I didn't really watch many Jet games, so I don't really know much on Darnold. I just know what you hear.
Yeah, I mean, like it's just a tough man. It's really being in the right place at the right time too. Obviously,
he started thriving in Carolina. He was doing well down there.
Right scheme and right stuff like that, and obviously the NFL just it's a results now business. You're not gonna unfortunately now too. He's probably at that point in his career where they want to see stuff now. So he's a hell of a player. Still got a shit ton in the tank. Even a better dude. Great dude off the field. So I think he'll be all right. Hopefully he just could land in a spot where he could shine and, show his talents to everybody.
Dude, he was killing it in the beginning of the season. So hopefully that, as long as everybody stays healthy down there and he just keeps thriving. So
yeah, he has one of the sickest arms I ever seen. So It's and he's a great dude. And,
Hard worker.
Yeah, real hard worker.
Cool.
All those guys were, man. I mean, it's again, a lot of times it's protecting them from themselves. Not so much the quarterbacks with the lifting, but especially like the D line and O line. Like we had Steve McClendon and Foley Fatukasi, who's a New York native. Foley is, and I mean, those two guys, when they would start lifting together, and not even like egos, like just like they were both so fucking strong. And you're like, all right, guys, hold on here. Like,
take it
let's,
easy.
Yeah, let's, tomorrow's another day. Tomorrow's another day. We'll get a little more.
Take it easy. We don't have to do it. We don't have to bench the
exactly.
entire building.
It's funny. We had Foley as a rookie, and he came in and we just tried to educate him as much as we can. And now, I'm still really close with him, and he laughs. He's like, man. Because I learned a lot from you guys on how to, like, I don't got to do it all in one day. I'm like, yeah, buddy, it's a slow burn, especially in season. I mean,
I was gonna say you don't want to get too sore for a game then.
Well, it's such a long season. I mean, you're starting in the end of July in training camp, and it's fucking end of January. These guys are still playing.
Yeah.
And the Super Bowl's February 13th. So that's a long time to be playing ball, and
only a couple of months off to get any injuries fixed and actually take a good amount of rest.
Yeah, you got to take care of yourself. So, it's it was fun. It was fun while it lasted. It's tough because obviously, just like playing, it's that transition after football. Even as a player, it's tough. In college, you kind of go through when you're done playing. It's like, all right, I was a football player my whole life. Now I'm not. Then I kind of was able to get back into coaching a few years later, which was great. You kind of get that same camaraderie you feel, that brotherhood and just kind of feeling at home on a football field. And then, after, so this last year, after we got fired was kind of, and it was just frustrating how everything went down. And obviously you're 2-14 in the NFL, I think is what we finished in 2020. Odds are you're not keeping your job.
Is that generally what they do? They clean the entire staff?
Yeah. I mean, usually, sometimes with the strength staff, if you're tied into upper management, sometimes you'll stay on. And
when realistically, the Jets really haven't had a winning season in years, so technically you guys weren't.
Yeah,
the problem.
2000. What was that? 10. They were 10-5, I think, in 2016, the year right before I got 15. I think 15 it was one of those years.
And the team was drastically different, though.
Yeah, I mean, and it's tough. I mean, there's pieces changing, and then obviously every time a new GM and a new head coach comes in, like the roster this year from just when I was there in 2020 is completely different. I think I know like 15, 20 guys on a team out of a 53-man roster, with 10 or 16 practice squad players. I'm not sure how many practice squad players they kept on this year. But, that transition's tough, and it was just, for me, even now, kind of transitioning out of the coaching role a little bit and working with Noodle now, how
yes.
we met through Noodle. It's been different. Obviously, I still have the passion for training, still have the passion for coaching. And, I was able to coach my son's football team this year. That was awesome. Still the same maniacs. And, they have friggin' keeping their attention just as hard as keeping the pros' attention. It doesn't change. It actually might be harder keeping the pros' attention a little more. They got a little more toys. And then the female distraction comes in at that age than you do with the 8-year-olds. 8-year-olds, they're just talking about like
Xbox,
Fortnite, and stuff like that. I mean, even the guys in the pros are still
that
20-year-old. They're still playing Xbox and shit like that. But so that was a great experience. And then it's just tough, man. That time away from the family, like that coaching lifestyle is fucking different, man. Like you're gone. And again, I was the asshole that chose to live an hour away from where I worked with traffic an hour and a half. But every morning I was up 4:30 in the morning driving to work. Days are long, getting home, 6, 7 o'clock at night, depending on the day. Wiped out. Literally eat real quick, try to see the kids if they weren't sleeping already, and then, try to spend 10, 15 minutes with my wife, and she would just look at me like, just go to bed. You're exhausted. Yeah. And, and that's pretty much the whole in season. You're like that. And, so, just after, you're getting fired, and this is really for anything, just kind of when you're making that pivot in your life, whether it's professionally or, after a relationship, just sitting back and really trying to think what's next. And what was important to me was, that time with my family. Obviously, growing up in Italian culture, to us, family is everything.
Sunday dinners,
and,
everything.
Yeah, exactly. And, I was missing a lot of that, with my son. And now he's starting to play sports. And it's funny. I remember even just going to his flag games like 2 years ago. And I'd have to either leave to go to the stadium if it was a night game, or if I was able to sneak in and see it before we were leaving to go to another an away game. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, fuck, like, I'd much rather stay here and watch his game than fucking go be on the sidelines at a professional game. So that kind of started putting stuff into perspective for me. And then, obviously, the lockdown happened, and we were all home for, I think 4 or 5 months we were there before we went back into the facility for the 2020 season, and just realizing how much you miss. It's like, fuck, like I didn't know this
you're
goes
actually
on.
seeing what happens when you're not there.
Bedtime routine, like, I didn't see all, and my wife just being, superwoman and being able to do this all by herself when in season when I wasn't there, and it's just like, that really put things in perspective. It's like, damn, like, how much longer can I really do this? And I still loved it. Like 2020, like went and did it every day with, that fire in my belly still. But, and then obviously with all the COVID restrictions and stuff like that, that was a monster of itself. Like if I was home 6 hours during the week, like family time, that was like a lot in season. So then, when we got fired, thank God, I was still under contract for a year. So I had that time to like sit back and kind of reflect and, really think what's next. And obviously, I still had that passion for, real estate that, what my grandfather kind of instilled in me growing up. And, I was just kind of down that rabbit hole trying to learn as much as I can, read as much as I can. And then that's actually how I met our founder, Kieran, at Noodle, was through, mutual friend. And at the time, his one company, he sold to Zillow. We were just kind of, BSing and really hit it off. Just, I was picking his brain about real estate and stuff like that. And then same thing during quarantine, he came up with the idea with Noodle, with the asynchronous coaching is, he was an executive at Zillow at the time. He didn't have the time to, and he was a scratch golfer and trying to schedule, he's in his garage, he made his garage home office, and he was in Palo Alto. So they were locked down. California was locked down,
it's even
just
worse
as
than
strict as
anywhere.
New York City. So he's like, I'm trying to find an hour to schedule with, my golf instructor to find time. And he's in a different time zone. I'm in a different time zone. I got work calls all day. He has clients all day. So he's like, why do we have to do? He's like, let's just do this asynchronously, going back and forth. So he would record himself, send it to his golf instructor. His golf instructor via text would just kind of make notes. And then that's how he came up with the idea of Noodle. And he's kind of made that platform. And it's funny, when he called me, I was getting nervous. It was November. It was like right before Thanksgiving. And I started, not panicking, but I'm like, my phone's not ringing with coaching jobs. And I wasn't really 100% sure if I wanted to get back into coaching just with the nature of the beast, because it's not if you get fired, it's when you get fired. And, obviously I knew this time of year was coming up and, my contract's up and I'm like, fuck, like, what am I going to do?
What options do I have?
Yeah. And, obviously even if you're investing in real estate, even if you buy one building, it's not giving you enough money to live off of, you gotta, that's the long game, that's the slow play, long-term greed, And, I was talking to a few people and, I met with one guy and he's telling me, I don't think you're a fit because, you don't have sales. I'm like, man, fuck this. And then I'm saying to myself, like, dude, I can't go work a normal corporate job. Like, that's not me. Like, that's not me. And then literally Kieran called me like 2 days after I met with that guy and was just like, Joe, what do you think of this idea? And, literally it's just a way for coaches and creators to scale that, that one-on-one business and get that time back. Because, it's only so many hours in a day. I mean, same thing with, your profession. Like, it's only so many hours in a day, only so much you could charge before you kind of price yourself out or scale yourself out. And then this, and he's telling me, I got like chills on my spine. I'm like, dude, this is fucking exactly what like coaches and creators need. It's just a way now, instead of servicing, one client in an hour, they could service friggin' 50 clients in an hour.
And everyone feels like they get that personal touch.
Yeah, and the cool thing with like asynchronous learning is like it's not all jammed into 1 hour Zoom session. Because I know I am. Like, I like taking notes. So like you'll be sitting there saying something, I'm like trying to jot it down as you're saying the next thing, and I'm like, fuck, I just missed the next important thing he was saying.
That's how it was in college.
So now asynchronously, it's literally the thread stays on your phone and you could go back to it at any time you want. And it's not like, oh, I got to do this right now. It's, hey, your coach can send you a technique or a workout, and it's like, all right, I know I got to do this week. Check in with me, next week, or check in with me in 2 days. Or if you have any questions, hit me up. And it's sick.
That's actually how 90% of bodybuilding coaches work.
Yeah, and it's sick.
That's how they give all their clients their diet plans and what they need to be doing, and send me your progression, your pictures, and this and that. That's how it works.
And it's really sick. The platform lives right on the creator's website, so you're not sending your clients to an app or somebody else's website. Literally could get the friggin' online coach thing set up on your website in like 5 minutes. So it's really cool for me too, and it's an easy transition for me because I'm still in it. Like it keeps me in strength and conditioning, keeps me in training. I'm here talking to you about training. We're gonna go to the gym after this, and you're gonna freaking
hell yeah, man! Bring me to Bevs. Let's go.
You're gonna kill me with some Meadows training after this.
We have back today.
Oh, perfect. I'm doing whatever you're doing. So I can kick
dope.
my ass. So you know, I mean, it's a perfect transition for me, and it's cool, man. It's been a great learning experience, and again, man, I'm blessed to have the wife I do that's just been so supportive for me with everything I want to do.
Shouts to wifey.
Yeah,
again shouts to wifey. Strong support circle.
Yeah,
you need that.
Yeah, and it's crazy, man. And it's funny. I was listening to the podcast with Jamal yesterday when I was doing my cardio in the morning. I snuck to the gym. It's too fucking cold to be working out in my garage right now.
So me too. That's why I haven't been in my garage.
Yeah,
it's storage unit right now.
So I've been sneaking to the gym in the morning before the kids wake up. And yesterday I just walked on the treadmill for a little bit, and I was listening to the podcast and like the relationship advice. But it's funny though. It's like you can't put a front up in the beginning like you're somebody else, and then
backtrack.
Yeah, it's not
later
gonna work.
on. You have to be 100% authentic the entire time.
And I was laughing at that because it's just especially if you want to stay in the coaching profession. When me and my wife started dating, I wasn't coaching, so this kind of got pushed on her. Like, all right, hey, I'm gonna go coach and
run around with these teams
and be working 20 hours a week. And when they have away games, I'm in those cities with them. But yeah, man, she's been great the whole time and been really supportive. But the whole family too, obviously. The huge Italian family you have, they're all
supportive,
all willing to come over and watch the kids and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been a wild journey. But again, it's just really it was relationships, man. That got you ready. It's just being a genuine person, like no shady motives, just genuinely trying to help people out.
Unapologetically authentic.
Yeah,
that's exactly how I am. That's exactly. Either people dig my vibe or they don't.
Yeah.
And I don't have time to sugarcoat shit. I just want to be 100%.
Exactly.
This is how I am, and that's it.
Again, it's fucking take what you're good at too and just run with that. Like, I wasn't the best student growing up. Like, I got into college because of football. And I just used that vehicle. Like, okay, I was a little bit better than people at football, so I was able to get into Rutgers University, graduate from there, and then football kind of gave me everything I had in my life. Like, me and my wife met at Rutgers through my brother-in-law Sal. We were roommates together, and he was a stubborn Italian brother. Didn't want me dating his sister at first, but again, we met and then we reconnected later on. Obviously, we didn't date when I was in college. We dated a few years after college, but yeah, that's a funny story too. You know how the protective Italian families are. That was it. We'll say that for another podcast. That story.
Listen, you are invited on anytime you want. I would love to have you on again. How can people get in touch with you, like if they want to just see your stuff?
Yeah, man. My Instagram's Joe_Giacobbe, GIACOBBE. And even if you want to shoot me email, talk training, whatever.
Noodle as well.
Yeah, learn more about Noodle.
I have a lot of people that do coaching.
Yeah.
And if this is a platform that they want to onboard for themselves, you're the guy to talk to.
Yeah, it's just Joe@noodle.shop. And the website's just noodle.shop.
Cool.
Appreciate it, brother, man.
Dude,
this is a lot of fun.
You're fucking awesome. I'm so glad we got connected.
Yeah.
There's a lot more in store for both of us, and I know we're going to have a lot of link-ups in the future and
excited.
Many more podcasts as well. This is episode 17. This is the second one this week.
17 is a good number, man.
It is, man. It's a good episode to be on. It's good vibes to have.
That's right, brother.
But on that note, I want to thank everyone for listening. Peace.
Thank you, guys.